Chapter 3396. 200,000 divine elixir pills was nothing to Fang Chen. He had received hundreds of millions of divine elixir pills from the Jiyu family. However, it was very important to a boundary emperor. Using 200,000 divine elixir pills to buy people's hearts was a good deal. Palace Master Mu Qing was in charge of the human race grand meeting. When the time came, the huge sacred palace was filled with people. The top forces were at the front. The Reincarnation Sword Emperor and the others took their seats on the main platform. Next to them in the seats were the leaders of the various major forces, and so on. Anyone who could sit next to the Sacred Palace Master was an important figure in the entire ancient chaos. Fire Dome Palace Master, is the leader not coming? Seeing that the gathering was about to begin, a plump man in black clothes asked in a low voice. However, the centermost position of the main platform was still empty. Fang Chen did not appear. The leader has been watching the grand meeting. Even if he doesn't come, he can see the progress of the grand meeting. The Fire Dome Palace Master nodded. Everyone knew that the Fire Dome Palace Master had the worst temper among the Sacred Palace Masters. Ordinary people didn't dare to talk to the Fire Dome Palace Master. However, the fat man in black clothes wasn't an ordinary person. He was the president of the Golden Dragon Chamber of Commerce. The Golden Dragon Chamber of Commerce was the largest chamber of commerce in the entire ancient chaos. Its branches were in every corner of the ancient chaos. As the president of the Golden Dragon Chamber of Commerce, he had a high status and was only second to the palace masters. Moreover, the Golden Dragon Chamber of Commerce could reach this stage because of the Fire Dome Palace Master's help. How's Jin Ming's preparation? The Fire Dome Palace Master suddenly asked. Speaking of Jin Ming, a look of joy appeared on the fat man's face. Ever since we learned of the grand meeting, all the resources of the Golden Dragon Chamber of Commerce have been given to Jin Ming. He didn't let us down and stepped into the Sector Lord Realm not long ago. In terms of overall strength, the Sector Lord Realm wasn't too outstanding. However, Jin Ming was only 21 years old. It was rare to see such a young Sector Lord in the ancient chaos. Even Fang Chen felt ashamed of his inferiority when they were of the same age. Hearing this, the Fire Dome Palace Master nodded in satisfaction. Lord Leader has placed great importance on this event and wants to select some extremely talented geniuses to be nurtured as the future pillars of the Sacred Palace. Have Jinming perform well. If he can gain Lord Leader's favor, your Golden Dragon Chamber of Commerce will become even more powerful. Definitely. The Golden Dragon Chamber of Commerce's president hurriedly nodded. As everyone was talking, Palace Master Wood Green stood up and began to introduce the grand meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, the convening of this human race meeting signifies that the human race has taken the most difficult step and ushered in an era of peace. Instantly, countless claps rang out like an avalanche. Palace Master Wood Green waved his hand, indicating for everyone to quiet down. Then, he said, the Lord Leader attaches great importance to this event, so all participants must perform well. The top 10 will be personally guided by the many Palace Masters of our Sacred Palace. In the following time, Palace Master Wood Green announced the rewards for this event. Immediately, the Sacred Palace was in an uproar. A short while later, Palace Master Wood Green finished explaining everything that needed to be done. He transmitted his voice to Fang Chen and asked for his opinion. After receiving an affirmative answer, he announced that the grand meeting had officially begun. The purpose of the grand meeting was to select geniuses. Geniuses were naturally those with heaven-defying potential. Therefore, there were 3 stages of assessment for the many contestants participating in this event. The first stage tested the strength of one's Yuan spirit. Only when one's Yuan spirit reached a certain level could one pass. There was a stone stele in the center of the square that tested the strength of one's Yuan spirit. Every cultivator that stepped forward would release a dazzling light. Wu Xiong of the Wu family will definitely gain the favor of the Sacred Palace. In the crowd, the Wu family members said to themselves, "H, the disciples of the Liu family aren't weak either." Everyone's eyes were on the testing stone stele. However, at this moment, Fang Chen was playing chess in the courtyard. More accurately, what was in front of him was the Dao Luo chessboard. Whoosh! All of a sudden, Fang Chen opened his eyes and slowly stretched his arms. Last time, when I comprehended the Dao Luo chessboard, I stopped at 45 moves. This time, it's clearly much easier. I reached 90 moves in one go. The Dao Luo chessboard contained the profound supreme laws. With Fang Chen's understanding of the supreme laws, it was very easy for him to solve 90 moves. Actually, he could still continue to decipher it, but his consciousness discovered something interesting. Buzz. His consciousness spread out and quickly enveloped the square in front of the sacred palace. At this moment, the person testing his Yuan spirit was a man in tattered clothes. He was an itinerant cultivator and belonged to no sect. His Yuan spirit is very weak. Even an ordinary profound God expert is stronger than him. However, it was precisely because of this that Fang Chen was even more curious. His consciousness enveloped the man and soon penetrated his primordial spirit without a sound. After a while, Fang Chen finally discovered something. There was a tyrannical power sealed in his Yuan spirit. This power had been suppressing the growth of his Yuan spirit. If he can absorb this power one day, his Yuan spirit will definitely grow exponentially. Fang Chen narrowed his eyes and immediately transmitted his voice to Palace Master Wood Green. Sacred Palace Square. Countless mocking laughter rang out. Such a weak Yuan spirit, yet he's here to embarrass himself. How laughable. What right does trash like him have to participate in the human race's gathering? Get out. Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? The man in tattered clothes withdrew his Yuan spirit and calmly scanned the crowd. One day, you all will understand how foolish your mockery is. He firmly believed that he would one day reach the peak. If the sacred palace can't see my Yuan spirit, then I don't need to enter. The man in tattered clothes shook his head and prepared to leave. Pass. The voice came from Palace Master Wood Green. The people who were mocking him were stunned, unable to believe their ears. Is there a mistake? If he can pass, doesn't that mean any one of us can pass? What kind of joke is this? How can such a person pass? Everyone, Palace Master Wood Green said in a deep voice, this decision came from the leader. No one needs to question it. Hearing this, the crowd was even more shocked. However, due to the leader's absolute authority, no one dared to say anything. Only the eyes of the man in tattered clothes flickered with a strange look. The leader, he murmured. It seemed that he had made the right choice in coming to the sacred palace. Chapter 3397. It took a full day for the first stage of the test to end. There were a few outstanding geniuses among them, and even the palace masters of the sacred palace were a little tempted. Jin Ming of the Golden Dragon Chamber of Commerce has good potential. The fatty from the Wu family is not bad either. Haha, I'm not bragging, but Lin Hongyi is definitely the most dazzling one in this year's event. Soon, someone came up with a list. The list listed the top 100 geniuses who had taken part in the first stage of the test in terms of strength of their primordial spirits. One had to know that in the vast primordial chaos, tens of thousands of geniuses had come to participate. Being able to enter the top 100 was already amazing. It was even more amazing to be able to enter the top 10. Among them, Lin Hongyi was ranked third. Her primordial spirit had already reached the level of a monarch. There were very few in the younger generation who could reach this level. Jin Ming of the Golden Dragon Chamber of Commerce was ranked 35th. He had cultivated for too short a time and was at a disadvantage compared to the others. However, the palace master and the president of the Golden Dragon Chamber of Commerce were not worried. There were still 2 more stages of the test, and the final overall ranking would be based on the overall performance of the 3 stages of the test, not a single stage of the test. As for Han Shan, who had been personally appointed by the leader, he didn't even enter the top 100. Everyone looked at Han Shan with eyes full of mockery and disdain. Temph, how can someone like him be favored by the leader? He's really lucky that the leader is speaking up for him. Just wait and see. He'll definitely be beaten back to his original state in the second stage of the test. Many people were indignant. Many people had cultivated day and night in order to gain the leader's attention. However, a guy whose primordial spirit was weaker than a profound god's had actually gained the leader's attention. This made them feel very unfair. Although the president of the Golden Dragon Chamber of Commerce was a little puzzled, he looked at the platform and saw that the palace masters, including the palace master, seemed to be very convinced by the leader's decision. It seems that this person is hiding a big secret. After a short rest, the second stage of the test officially began. This test tested the strength of the physical body. The test stone tablet was still presided over by Palace Master Mu Qing. The first one to appear was called Yi Qing. He had obtained first place in the first stage of the test. Among the people present, the strength of his primordial spirit was the highest. It had reached the terrifying peak of the Emperor level. He was only one step away from entering the martial Emperor realm. This was rare among the younger generation. Boom! Yi Qing exerted all the strength in his body and punched the testing stone tablet. Instantly, ripples appeared on the testing stone tablet. After a while, the testing stone tablet stopped moving. Whew! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, their hearts filled with shock. What a powerful force! I feel that the might of that punch is already comparable to a region lord. Everyone was astonished. Yi Qing was too strong. Not bad. Palace Master Wood Green nodded slightly. After Yi Qing, several people came forward to take the test one after another. When it was Lin Hongyi's turn, everyone's eyes lit up and they all stared at her. Lin Hongyi exuded an extraordinary aura. Moreover, she was naturally beautiful. Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw her. Boom! A seemingly weak woman's physical strength was actually second only to Yi Qing's. The ripples on the testing stone tablet continued to spread. In the end, it was only a small step away from Yi Qing's punch. Amazing! Everyone exclaimed and cheered. In the elegant garden not far away, Fang Chen was cracking the Dao chessboard while paying attention to the situation in the sacred palace square. The Dao chessboard in front of him was copied from the 10,000 treasure pagoda. Although it wasn't as powerful as the real Dao chessboard, it still had 80% of its power. If it was an ordinary boundary emperor, it would naturally be impossible to do it, but Fang Chen was different. He could even copy the Armageddon painting, let alone the Dao chessboard. This little guy called Yi Qing actually has a trace of the azure wood bloodline in his body. The corners of Fang Chen's mouth curled up as he said with a smile. The azure wood bloodline was also a rare bloodline in the world. Although it couldn't be compared to the black hole bloodline, it was still a first-class bloodline. In the Sutra Pavilion, the sacred island has the inheritance left behind by the azure wood great emperor. Unfortunately, only those with the azure wood bloodline can receive it. Fang Chen said. In fact, his half-perfect bloodline could also evolve into the azure wood bloodline. However, his current strength had already surpassed that of the azure wood great emperor. The latter's inheritance was not attractive to him at all. If he can enter the top 5 in the comprehensive ranking of the 3 tests, help him activate the azure wood bloodline and let him receive the inheritance of the azure wood great emperor, Fang Chen said. If Yi Qing knew about Fang Chen's comments, he would definitely be pleasantly surprised. Next, Fang Chen also commented on several other people. For example, although Lin Hongyi was a woman, her potential was not weaker than Yi Qing's. The body contains the most yin and cold qi. If it is effectively guided, it can be used for one's own. There were also some geniuses that Fang Chen briefly commented on. Han Shan was the only one whom Fang Chen didn't comment on. Soon after, the second stage of the test ended. Yi Qing was still in first place, while Lin Hongyi followed closely behind and rose to second place. As for Jin Ming of the Golden Dragon Chamber of Commerce, he also entered the top 10. The only one who did not change was Han Shan. He still did not enter the top 100 and did not even meet the conditions to enter the list. This made everyone even more disdainful, and they also had a trace of doubt about the leader's vision. The third stage of the test was an actual combat test. Up until now, the weak had basically been eliminated. There were only about 200 people who could participate in the third stage of the test. If it were not for Fang Chen's personal appointment, Han Shan would have been eliminated long ago. Actual combat. In the crowd, Han Shan clenched his fists, and his eyes shone with golden light. The world is stupid. Only the leader has a unique vision and discovered the abnormality of my body. Han Shan said in a deep voice, actual combat. I have been fighting with many monsters in the land of extremis all these years. What I lack the least is combat skills. This third stage of the test is not difficult for me at all. The arena was ready. Each of the 200 contestants received a number and fought in pairs. The first person to enter the arena was still Yi Qing. Seeing Yi Qing, his opponent's face was bitter and helpless. I admit defeat. The powerful strength that Yi Qing had displayed in the first 2 rounds was not something they could compare to. The top 10 on the list almost did not make a move, and their opponents automatically admitted defeat. This was the last round of the test. Everyone did their best. The battle in the arena was never over. Boom. A fatty casually threw out a punch and sent his opponent flying. Chapter 3398. Time flowed by. Very soon, it was Han Shan's turn. The moment he stepped onto the arena, it caused a huge commotion. Quickly look, that guy is finally going to reveal his true colors, right? If he's defeated in this third round of combat test, Lord Leader won't be able to shield him, right? H, I want to see what capabilities he has to be able to reach this step. Many people spoke ill of Han Shan. However, the latter was calm. If a dog bites you, you can't bite the dog back, right? In life, there were many such people. He might as well just ignore them. Han Shan's opponent was an extremely powerful world evolution realm powerhouse. When they saw his opponent, the crowd's eyes were filled with ridicule. It's Qin Kang. Everyone cried out in surprise. They didn't expect that Han Shan's opponent was actually Qin Kang. This person's strength could be considered top-notch in the world evolution realm. In the first 2 rounds of test, he was even a step away from entering the top 10. This guy is dead for sure. Ha ha ha, I heard that Qin Kang was already somewhat dissatisfied with him before. This time, he will definitely not show mercy. Accompanied by the mocking voices of everyone, Qin Kang walked in front of Han Shan. I'm very curious. What capabilities do you have to actually be able to get Lord Leader to personally appoint you? Qin Kang narrowed his eyes. His eyes were filled with ridicule. Won't you know after the battle? Facing Qin Kang's ridicule, Han Shan was still unmoved. It was as if Qin Kang was a joke before him. I hope that you can still be so stubborn later. Boom. As his voice faded, a terrifying aura was released from Qin Kang's body. In the sky above his head, a crescent moon appeared. What shocked everyone was that this crescent moon was actually blood red. This is the death moon. Everyone cried out in surprise. Everyone was shocked. It was rumored that Qin Kang was an unaffiliated cultivator. After going through untold hardships, he finally obtained a supreme inheritance from the ancient era in a certain ruin. From then on, his name completely spread throughout the primordial chaos. However, in the same realm, there had never been anyone who could force him to unleash his strongest attack. But now, facing Han Shan, a cultivator who looked extremely ordinary, he unleashed his strongest attack right from the start. This was sufficient to show that Qin Kang was angry. Death, strangle. A sinister voice sounded from Qin Kang's mouth. The next moment, Qin Kang spread his hands. The moon of death above his head rapidly descended onto his hands. Wang. He held the moon of death in his hands, accumulated enough power, and suddenly exploded. With the death moon as the core, layers of powerful energy rippled out. The entire arena was instantly enveloped by a terrifying airflow. Swish. Seeing this, Han Shan was not anxious. Instead, he leaped and easily dodged Qin Kang's full-force attack. Although your attacks are strong, they are full of flaws. At this moment, Han Shan was like a ferocious tiger, unleashing his most ferocious counterattack. For countless years, he had been fighting on the edge of life and death. Every battle could be the last battle of his life. What he experienced was not what Qin Kang could compare to at all. And under this kind of high-intensity training where he had a slim chance of surviving, his survival skills far surpassed that of a commander-rank martial artist. The current him was able to see that there were many flaws in Qin Kang's attacks with a single glance. Rip! Han Shan threw out a series of punches. Boom! Boom! What was strange was that each of his fist lights came from a different angle, smashing towards Qin Kang's floors in an extremely crafty manner. "Break for me." Seeing the first fist light that was close at hand, Qin Kang's eyes flickered. With a low shout, the death moon in his hands suddenly expanded, wanting to devour the fist light. However, just as the fist light collided with the death moon, his expression suddenly changed greatly. How is this possible? He discovered to his shock that not only was the fist light not devoured by the death moon, it even penetrated the insides of the death moon, crazily destroying it. Is it a coincidence? Qin Kang felt that this was a coincidence. He increased the power of his attacks, wanting to use absolute strength to end the battle as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. However, the following scene caused him to be completely stupefied. Boom! Boom! Dozens of fist lights bombarded the death moon in a row. The seemingly powerful death moon actually had no power to resist at all, shattering with a loud bang. And Qin Kang's body was also sent flying, smashing into the ground. Boom! When the smoke on the arena dissipated and everyone saw the result, the entire plaza was deathly silent. Everyone was dumbstruck, unable to believe what they saw. How is this possible? Qin Kang actually lost. Finally, after a brief moment of silence, someone cried out in shock. Heavens, how did Qin Kang lose? The death moon is Qin Kang's strongest attack. Why didn't it block Han Shan's attack? Cheating, he must have cheated. There were actually people who suspected that Han Shan was cheating. Impudent. Palace Lord Woodgreen suddenly stood up and berated. Immediately, the clamorous voices in the plaza gradually calmed down. The hearts of everyone were still shaken. Only Han Shan stood on the arena, coldly looking at everyone. Han Shan won this battle. Palace Lord Woodgreen personally announced the result. Even if everyone was unconvinced, there was nothing they could do. Yi Qing, Lin Hongyi, Jin Ming, Fatty Wu, and the others all looked at Han Shan thoughtfully. At this moment, they treated Han Shan as a formidable opponent. After a short moment, everyone gradually recovered from their shock. Some finally understood why the Lord Leader had personally appointed Han Shan. How terrifying. Qin Kang's death moon is practically comparable to a region lord. I never expected that he would still be no match for Han Shan. Han Shan's body is filled with piercingly cold killing intent. It's obvious that he's been fighting on the battlefield of life and death all year round. His survival skills aren't something that ordinary people can compare to. Some had also noticed how terrifying Han Shan was. In short, after this battle, no one dared to underestimate Han Shan anymore. The first elimination round of the third stage had ended, and it was quickly followed by the second and third rounds. 3 days later, the third stage of the test had finally come to an end. Many of the sacred palace masters had also chosen disciples they were proud of. Jin Ming, are you willing to cultivate under my wing? The Fire Sky Palace Lord spoke when he saw that most of them had chosen. Disciple is willing. Jin Ming was extremely pleasantly surprised when he heard this. Many higher-ups of the Golden Dragon Merchant Group were extremely excited as well. Even though their Golden Dragon Merchant Group had business dealings with the Fire Sky Palace Lord, their relationship wasn't stable after all. Now that Jin Ming had become a disciple of the Fire Sky Palace Lord, their Golden Dragon Merchant Group had truly found a backer. Many disciples with outstanding performances were chosen by the Almighties. There were only 3 people that no one chose. They were Yi Qing, Lin Hongyi, and Han Shan. The 3 of them. Everyone was slightly surprised. Why didn't Palace Lord Woodgreen and the others choose them? After all, Palace Lord Woodgreen was a wood element cultivator, and so was Yi Qing. Logically speaking, Palace Lord Woodgreen should be tempted. Chapter 3399. From the current overall situation, the 3 of them could be considered the best of the best in this event. Especially Han Shan, the potential he had shown in the actual combat stage was too amazing. His survival skills, observation of opponents, and other aspects were very meticulous. However, Yi Qing and Lin Hongyi were perfect in all aspects. The 3 of them stood at the front of the square in silence. Rip! At this moment, a figure appeared out of thin air. Greetings, leader. With Palace Master Woodgreen leading the way, Many palace masters got up to greet Fang Chen. Greetings, leader. In the huge square, everyone bowed with their hands folded in front of their chest. Fang Chen waved his hand and then said, "The purpose of this human race event is to select prodigies and nurture them to enhance the overall strength of the ancient chaos." After pausing for a moment, Fang Chen continued, "Those who perform well will be selected by the quasi-emperor powerhouses and focused on nurturing them. As for the three of them, their situation is a bit special, so I will personally guide them and arrange some trials for them." Fang Chen's gaze fell on Yi Qing. "Yi Qing, you have the azure wood bloodline, but it has not been completely activated. This is also the reason why you have been stuck at the bottleneck and cannot break through." Fang Chen began to comment. "Of course, your combat skills are also a bit rough, which is related to your experience." Fang Chen said, "In the following time, I will help you awaken the azure wood bloodline and then arrange trials for you. Are you willing?" "This disciple is willing." Yi Qing was excited and hurriedly cupped his fists. Fang Chen shook his head. "I am only guiding you in the name of the leader of the human race. I will not accept you as a disciple." He already had 2 disciples, namely Tian Xin and Kang Ju. Although the 2 of them had average potential and were not as strong as Yi Qing, he would not force them to accept disciples. "Lin Hongyi, you have a rare extreme yin and extreme cold physique. I am not very good in this aspect, but I will let the Star Emperor guide you." Hearing the 2 words Star Emperor, Lin Hongyi's eyes lit up. As a female cultivator, she worshipped the Star Emperor, the wife of the leader of the human race, Fang Chen. She was also very happy to be guided by the Star Emperor. "Thank you, leader." Finally, Fang Chen looked at Han Shan. "Perhaps everyone is curious as to why I chose Han Shan?" Fang Chen shrugged. "I don't mind telling everyone that Han Shan has a secret. I'm sure that among the 3 of them, he was the first to reach the quasi-emperor realm." Boom! The square was in an uproar. Countless martial artists were shocked. How is that possible? Is Han Shan's potential that strong? Unbelievable. Palace Head Wood Green, please give out the rewards. "The 3 of you, follow me." As soon as he finished speaking, Fang Chen rolled up his sleeves and left the square with the 3 of them. As for Palace Master Wood Green, he began to give out rewards in succession. The human race grand meeting that swept through the primordial chaos finally came to an end. Many geniuses soared to the heavens in a single bound. They displayed outstanding potential and obtained the recognition of quasi-emperors. They were taken in as disciples and their futures were bright. The leader's residence. Palace Master Wood Green was reporting to Fang Chen about the human race grand meeting. "My lord, a total of 180 geniuses with good potential were selected in this grand meeting. They are all likely to reach the quasi-emperor realm in the future." Palace Master Wood Green said. A total of 35 people were taken in as disciples by quasi-emperors. The harvest of this human race grand meeting was much greater than expected. After listening to the report, Fang Chen grinned. He was about to leave the primordial chaos and enter the God's Fall battlefield. The only thing he could do was to improve the overall combat strength of the primordial chaos. He had a feeling that perhaps one day, the God's Fall battlefield and the primordial chaos would no longer be separated by an invisible barrier. At that time, the primordial chaos would be completely exposed to the experts who had survived from the ancient times. Once they invaded, the primordial chaos would not be able to resist. "Increase the resources for cultivation," Fang Chen said. "Don't worry, the Sacred Palace has already made a detailed plan," Palace Master Wood Green said. "We will see results in 100 years at the latest." 100 years later, a group of martial artists would step into the quasi-emperor realm. At that time, the combat strength of the primordial chaos would greatly increase. After Palace Master Wood Green left, Fang Chen sent a voice transmission to Han Shan, asking him to come to his residence. "I have already sent Yi Qing to the Sacred Island. As for whether he can obtain the inheritance of the Greenwood Great Emperor, it will depend on his luck," Fang Chen murmured. At the same time, he also asked his wife, the Star Emperor, to personally teach Lin Hongyi. Only Han Shan needed to be taught by him personally. Junior Han Shan greets Lord Leader. Not long after, Han Shan came. He was very respectful to Fang Chen. There is a powerful restriction in your primordial spirit. Can you tell me what it is? Fang Chen asked. Han Shan did not hide anything from Fang Chen. He slowly recounted some of his experiences. It turned out that when he was cultivating at the edge of life and death, he accidentally entered a secret treasure left behind from the ancient times and obtained a powerful primordial spirit secret technique. The soul Dao power left behind by that expert drilled into his primordial spirit, causing his primordial spirit to be restricted. Sit here. I will help you undo the restriction, Fang Chen said. Han Shan sat down. Fang Chen released his peak corporeal realm primordial spirit and began to guide Han Shan. As soon as it entered Han Shan's mind, he felt an extremely strong resistance. Open for me, Fang Chen roared, and a majestic soul Dao power surged wildly. Crack. A moment later, a gap appeared in the restriction. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Fang Chen continued to attack. In the end, the restriction was completely torn apart. A terrifying torrent emerged from the restriction and instantly swept Han Shan's primordial spirit. Buzz. Fang Chen was already prepared. He used his soul Dao power to transfer power to Han Shan. Han Shan had already fallen unconscious, but the terrifying torrent was gradually being controlled by Fang Chen. Condense. Fang Chen controlled the terrifying torrent in a narrow space. This soul Dao power is extremely terrifying. With the current strength of Han Shan's primordial spirit, it will be difficult for him to refine it all at once. He needs to do it step by step. Fang Chen said, I will control it and release it bit by bit, giving Han Shan a chance to refine it. After he completely refines it, his primordial spirit will at least reach the void realm. This was also why Fang Chen thought highly of Han Shan. If his primordial spirit reached the void realm, Yi Qing and Lin Hongyi would not be able to catch up to him. It's up to you now, Fang Chen said. Then, he withdrew his primordial spirit. A few hours later, Han Shan gradually woke up. He immediately discovered the changes in his primordial spirit. He was overjoyed and grateful to Fang Chen. Chapter 3400. With the emergence of the leader, the human race gradually rose. In the vast primordial chaos, there was no force that could compete with the sacred palace. Fang Chen became an iconic figure of the human race. Some people even compared him to the immortal emperor. In the Age of Doom, the human race only had one immortal emperor. Other than him, there was no second emperor realm ruler. From this, one could see how high Fang Chen's prestige was. Moreover, his strength was the strongest in the primordial chaos. No one could shake him. Although he rarely appeared outside after becoming the leader, legends about him spread in every corner of the primordial chaos. After the human race grand meeting, the sacred palace selected many geniuses. Among them, the most promising were Yi Qing, Lin Hongyi, and Han Shan. This was because the three of them were chosen by the leader. Time passed in a blur. 3 years had passed since the human race grand meeting. During this time, Fang Chen had been accompanying his family and friends. He even gave them a large number of divine elixirs to help them break through to the next realm. Whoosh! In a mansion, Fang Chen suddenly opened his eyes. The ancient annihilation secret technique has been cultivated to the peak of the 9th level. I can also use the third sword of the Armageddon sword art at will. Fang Chen murmured. He slowly rose to his feet. Over the past few years of cultivation, he had accumulated a lot of power, and his power had already accumulated to a very strong level. If I use my full strength now, I should be comparable to a young Essence Realm elite, right? The Emperor Realm ruler was called the Yin-Yang Essence Realm in ancient times and even older times. As the name suggested, the Yin-Yang Essence Realm was divided into 2 realms, the Yin Essence Realm and the Yang Essence Realm. Although Fang Chen was still a quasi-emperor, he could easily crush a Yin Essence Realm elite. This was the terrifying part of being the strongest in the primordial chaos. Whoosh! After taking a deep breath, Fang Chen sent a voice transmission to Star Emperor. Soon, Star Emperor arrived. Brother Chen. Looking at Fang Chen, Star Emperor's face was full of reluctance. She knew better than anyone that her husband would definitely leave the primordial chaos and enter the God's Fall battlefield. Are you leaving? Even though he knew, Star Sovereign still asked again. Fang Chen reached out and pulled his wife into his embrace. Her hair brushed past his nose, and a faint fragrance wafted over. The God's Fall battlefield hides a great secret. I have a feeling that in the near future, it will affect the ancient chaos. Fang Chen said softly, you also know that the primordial chaos is our homeland. I don't want to see it invaded by anyone, nor do I want to see it destroyed by anyone. Moreover, I have reached a bottleneck in my cultivation. Only by entering the God's Fall battlefield can I find an opportunity to break through. Up until now, he had started off by increasing his strength to protect his loved ones. Later on, he had gradually stepped onto the peak of martial arts. Now, Fang Chen knew some of the secrets of the ancient times. He also knew that there was a higher realm above the Emperor realm. Autarch of primal chaos. Fang Chen clenched his fists, his eyes radiating light as he muttered to himself. Above the yin-yang origin realm was the Five Elements sacred realm. Stepping into the Five Elements sacred realm, even in the ancient times or even further back, one could be called a top expert. However, there was an insurmountable mountain above their heads, and that was the primal chaos supremacy. The primordial chaos was the most powerful existence in the entire chaos realm. It was the peak of martial arts, and the heart of all warriors belonged to it. Star Sovereign nodded gently. Even though she was reluctant, she still supported her husband's decision. Along the way, she had been through a lot, so she knew her husband very well. In his heart, there would always be a heart that pursued the peak of martial arts. The God's Fall battlefield is extremely dangerous. Even an Emperor Realm Dominator would have a slim chance of survival. Brother Chen, you must be careful. Star Sovereign said. Fang Chen nodded. Don't worry. I have a lot of concerns in my heart. I will definitely come out alive. Fang Chen patted Star Sovereign's shoulder and said softly, when I find out the secrets of the God's Fall battlefield, I will find a way to solve the current predicament of the primordial chaos. By then, the strength of the human race will definitely skyrocket. In fact, there were still many outstanding heaven's prides in the age of chaos. For example, the many palace masters of the sacred palace had been stuck in the quasi-emperor realm for countless years. It was not that they did not have enough potential, but because the supreme laws were incomplete, they were suppressed and could never step into the emperor realm. This was the predicament that the human race urgently needed to solve. Take good care of Yun and Han. Fang Chen was most worried about his two sons. They were still too weak and needed someone to take care of them. As for Fang Shi, he had the all-fusion body and would soon become the top expert of the sacred palace. There was no need to worry at all. 3 whole days passed. Fang Chen kept his wife company and had a heart-to-heart talk. Until 3 days later. Night fell. Fang Chen quietly left the sacred region. In the darkness, the cold wind rustled. Star Sovereign, dressed in a purple dress, stood in the wind and refused to turn her head. Before Fang Chen left, he only told the news to Palace Master Wood Green. After all, he was going to enter the God's Fall battlefield. There were unknown dangers inside. Just in case, it was better not to let the people of the primordial chaos know. The God's Fall battlefield was in the dark void and bordered the edge of the primordial chaos. Fang Chen easily came to the void crack where he had killed Lord Mo. The entrance to the God's Fall battlefield has been completely sealed. Even I can't open it. Fang Chen murmured. He recalled what Gui Su had said to him. Perhaps something was happening in the God's Fall battlefield. I just need to enter through the flame abyss. After thinking for a while, Fang Chen entered the flame abyss. Buzz. The scorching lava of the void rolled over from afar. Within the flame abyss, Fang Chen's powerful consciousness quickly spread out, constantly sensing the changes in the void crack. Since the Sky One Sword Emperor could enter back then, there must be an entrance in the flame abyss. Fang Chen murmured. He began to search seriously. Time flew by. After about 3 months, Fang Chen finally found something wrong. Hey! He found that although there was void lava covering a part of the void in the flame abyss, it was very thin. What's going on? He clearly remembered that Jian Hong had told him that the flame abyss was a strange place born of heaven and earth. It was filled with void lava. Could the entrance be here? Fang Chen's eyes flashed as he came to the place where the void lava was thin. He could not penetrate it with his consciousness alone. Fang Chen slashed with his sword and the heavenly star sword art exploded. Terrifying sword chi formed a powerful ripple that quickly blasted toward the thin area. Crack! When the sword chi collided with the thin area, a sudden change occurred. Boom! Chapter 3401. On a piece of barren land, there were dilapidated cities everywhere. The void was filled with a terrifying killing power. Vaguely, one could hear countless cries of resentment. At a glance, it was as if a great battle had taken place here. There was no sunlight in the void, only haze. At the edge of the barren land, there was a scorched black tree that towered into the sky. Bang! Suddenly, a black shadow descended from the sky and landed on the tree branch. Crack! The force of the fall was so great that the branch broke. Finally, the black shadow smashed into the sand. At a closer look, the thing that fell from the sky was a human figure. Fang Chen's memory was still stuck in the flame abyss. He clearly remembered that he found a space with thin magma in the flame abyss. His primordial spirit could not penetrate it, so he used the heavenly star sword technique and slashed out. In the next moment, he felt that he was enveloped by the powerful magma. At that time, he did not even have time to react before he lost consciousness. In the sand, half of Fang Chen's body was covered by the wind and sand. His fingers moved slowly. Then, his whole body was filled with pain. Fang Chen opened his eyes with difficulty. "I'm not dead." His first reaction was to think that he had died in the magma. However, when he realized that he could still feel pain, he dismissed this thought. Is this the God's Fall battlefield? After resting for a while, the power in his body gradually recovered. Fang Chen got up from the soil and sat on the ground. He took out a jar of wine from his sumeru ring and drank a few mouthfuls. Then, he looked around and saw a vast scene. It's so desolate. This should be the place where the God's Fall battlefield broke out. Fang Chen muttered. He was sure that he had entered the God's Fall battlefield. However, he was a little confused. How did he get in? If a mere attack could break through the spatial barrier, then someone would have definitely discovered it in the countless years that have passed. Fang Chen shook his head and denied this point. Finally, he focused his thoughts on the heavenly star sword technique. The heavenly star sword technique was left behind by ancestor Chen Jian. The flame abyss is where he cultivated. Could it be? Thinking of this, Fang Chen suddenly understood. It must be the heavenly star sword art. Great ancestor Chen Jian must have discovered this space when he was cultivating in the flame abyss. Therefore, he must have done something to it. Only the heavenly star swordsmanship could break it. Who? Fang Chen heaved a sigh of relief. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. He opened his arms and welcomed the sandstorm. God's Fall battlefield, I, Fang Chen, am here. The battlefield of God's Fall was enormous. Fang Chen's current location was only the size of a small continent. In the past, the Battle of the Gods was extremely tragic. It caused the battlefield of the gods to be torn apart. The continent I'm on should be one of the peripheral battlefields. Although this continent was damaged, it still retained the appearance of a continent. This meant that the battle that took place here back then was not too intense. The most important thing right now is to figure out what's going on in the God's Fall battlefield and then make plans. As they spoke, Fang Chen sent a voice transmission. Su Qi, do you know where I am now? Su Qi was naturally the old beggar's name. Su Qi knew more about the battlefield of God's Fall than Fang Chen. Therefore, this time, Fang Chen chose to bring Su Qi along. Whoosh! The sumeru ring flashed and Su Qi appeared in the sand. This sumeru ring was personally refined by Fang Chen. It was the only one in the entire primordial chaos. Su Qi hid in the sumeru ring and followed Fang Chen into the battlefield of God's Fall. This place, Su Qi looked around and frowned slightly. What's wrong? Seeing Su Qi's expression, Fang Chen asked. Boom! At this moment, a terrifying killing intent swept over from afar. Even Fang Chen's powerful primordial spirit was moved. His expression abruptly changed as he grabbed Su Qi. His figure flashed as he entered the void. "Let's go." However, it was already too late. Dust flew into the air as a group of cavalry charged over from the distance, carrying a shocking killing intent. In the blink of an eye, they blocked Fang Chen's path forward. Kill. The leader was a lifeless corpse. A spear suddenly appeared in the corpse's hand. Rip. The spear tore through the void and instantly pierced Fang Chen's body. Bang. In a flash, Fang Chen took out the holy treasure coiling dawn spear that he had obtained from Lord Mo. Only then did he manage to block the corpse's spear. Thump. 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 Fang Chen's body kept retreating. After stabilizing his body, a trace of blood seeped out of his mouth. How can they be so strong? Just one spear made him feel the threat of death. Not good. It's Old Corpse Head's corpse cavalry team. Su Qi, who had been hiding in the Sumeru ring, cried out involuntarily. "Hurry up and leave. You're not their match," Su Qi urged. "Old Corpse Head?" Fang Chen raised his eyebrows. Ding. The corpse cavalry team did not give Fang Chen any chance at all. There were more than 20 cavalrymen. When they attacked together, the combat strength they erupted with was too shocking. Peak Yin Essence Stage. Fang Chen was flabbergasted. Everyone in this 20-man cavalry team was at the Peak Yin Essence Stage. When they worked together, their might soared, rivaling that of a young Essence Stage expert. If I fight with them here, Old Corpse Head will definitely know. Fang Chen calculated in his heart. He did not fear the cavalry team before him. What he truly feared was Old Corpse Head. Apocalypse Sword Technique. Seeing one of the zombies about to attack, Fang Chen raised his sword and executed the Apocalypse Sword Technique's third move. Whoosh. A resplendent sword light burst out of the hidden star sword and instantly pierced this zombie's body. Crack. The sword light tore the zombie's body apart. "Kill him for me." Fang Chen's actions enraged the cavalry team, causing them to increase the intensity of their attacks. Crack. After continuously waving the sword a few times, Fang Chen felt that a few cracks had actually appeared on the blade of the hidden star sword. "I can only use the coiling dawn spear." The hidden star sword was an emperor-grade supreme treasure. Its toughness could not compare to a holy treasure. The weapons in the hands of these zombies were very strange. Apocalypse Sword Technique. Fang Chen executed the Apocalypse Sword Technique with the coiling dawn spear. Although its might was greatly reduced, it still posed a great threat to the cavalry team due to the fact that it was a holy treasure. A cold light flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. "I'm not playing with you anymore." In the next moment, Xiao Chen executed the Heavenly Star Sword Technique. Vast sword qi appeared out of nowhere, forming a terrifying sword qi storm that engulfed the cavalry team. As for Fang Chen, he took the opportunity to collect the weapons of the zombies he killed and fled. Crack. When the Heavenly Star Sword Technique was complemented by the coiling dawn spear, its might soared. No one in the Yin Essence Stage could match it. When the sword qi storm dissipated, only 10-odd people remained of the 20-man cavalry team. Damn it. Chapter 3402. In a hidden valley on the broken continent. Fang Chen had set up a formation in the surroundings, so it was difficult for the zombies to find this place. Phew. Fang Chen heaved a sigh of relief and sat down on the bluestone. What's going on? Who is that Old Corpse Head ghost? With a thought, Su Qi came out of the Sumeru ring. Do you know why I submitted to Lord Mo and was willing to return to the ancient chaos with him? Fang Chen shook his head. Because when I was wandering in the Godsfall battlefield, I accidentally broke into Old Corpse Head Ghost's territory, which is the continent we are on. As a result, I was chased by Old Corpse Head Ghost's zombie cavalry army and almost died. At the critical moment, Lord Mo appeared. He needed a servant, so he saved me. After Old Corpse Head Ghost knew it was Lord Mo, he obediently stopped interfering in this matter. Recalling what had happened back then, Su Qi's heart was filled with fear. If Lord Mo had appeared a little later, he would have ended up like the zombie cavalry army that attacked them. I heard from Lord Mo that Old Corpse Head Ghost was a super powerhouse of the Yang Essence realm. He took over this continent and renamed it the Corpse Head Continent. This person was extremely evil. Any martial artist who broke into the corpse head continent would be refined into a zombie. Hearing this, Fang Chen understood. Is this old corpse head ghost also a powerhouse who survived the God's Fall battlefield? Fang Chen asked. If so, then this old corpse head ghost was not to be trifled with. In ancient times, all kinds of flowers bloomed, and thousands of races were powerful. To be able to survive such a cruel war, he must have some super powerful means. Even if he was only a young Essence Realm powerhouse now, Fang Chen did not dare to fight him head-on. However, Su Qi shook his head. No. It is said that this old corpse head ghost is a descendant of a disciple who survived an extremely evil sect in ancient times. After that disciple recuperated, he gradually refined corpses. In the end, in order to seize the cultivation resources in the God's Fall battlefield, he even established a sect. It was said that this corpse head ghost was also a disciple of that sect. But later on, because of some things, he angered the higher-ups of the sect and defected. Won't the other experts say anything about the corpse head ghost occupying the continent? Su Qi curled his lips. Master, you know too little about the God's Fall battlefield. Su Qi explained, the God's Fall battlefield is huge. Strictly speaking, the primordial chaos can only be considered a vassal of the God's Fall battlefield. In ancient times, the God's Fall battlefield was prosperous and prosperous. It was many times more powerful than the primordial chaos. Then why did the Battle of God's Fall happen? Fang Chen frowned. I have heard people say that the God's Fall battlefield seems to be related to the origin of all races. Some people even say that this is the origin of the Chaos Realm. As for the specifics, it is impossible for me to know with my status. Su Qi said, right now, we are only in the outermost area of the God's Fall battlefield. The closer we are to the core, the more old monsters and experts that survived the Battle of God's Fall. Usually, no one would come to such a remote continent. Even if someone came, they might not be able to defeat the corpse head ghost. Who would care about this? After hearing Su Qi's words, Fang Chen more or less understood. However, what he remembered most was the word origin. The origin of all races. He had also seen this word in the book in Lord Mo's Sumeru ring. Origin, as the name implied, was the root of everything. This word had great significance. Combined with what Su Qi had just said, Fang Chen vaguely felt that the Battle of God's Fall back then had a lot to do with origin. After thinking for a moment, he could not figure it out, so he stopped thinking about it. I'm new here and know too little about the God's Fall battlefield. When my strength increases, I will definitely know. By then, I might be able to find a way to restore the supreme law of primordial chaos. Fang Chen murmured. Then, he changed the topic and asked, do you know why this weapon, which is not a holy treasure, can completely suppress my treasure? Fang Chen took out the weapon he had obtained from the corpse head ghost cavalry regiment. It was a white bone trident. There were layers of complicated patterns on the bones, emitting a dim luster. When he held it in his hand, there was a faint dark current that flowed into his body. It was very evil. This white bone trident was personally refined by the corpse head ghost. As for the material, you should have guessed it. It's a human warrior, Su Qi said. Su Qi said, however, if it was a normal human warrior skeleton, the weapon refined would definitely not be able to compete with a holy treasure. The reason why the white bone trident is so powerful is because of the demonic soldier spiritual liquid. Termination elixir? It was the first time Fang Chen had heard of such a thing. He was very puzzled. The termination elixir is a super elixir born from heaven and earth that can be used to refine weapons. This elixir contains an extremely strong killing intent. For ordinary treasures, if a drop of the termination elixir is added during the refining process, the grade of the weapon will immediately rise to the level of an Emperor True Treasure. As for Emperor True Treasures, if they absorb a drop of the termination elixir, their grade will rise to the level of a Pinnacle True Treasure. Master, the white bone trident in your hand is a Pinnacle True Treasure. There were several types of true treasures. Ordinary true treasures, Emperor True Treasures, and Pinnacle True Treasures. In the primordial chaos, Emperor True Treasures were already very powerful. Pinnacle true treasures were only the treasures of the sacred palaces. As for Fang Chen's hidden star sword, it was still some distance away from being a pinnacle true treasure. So powerful? Fang Chen was speechless. He did not expect the termination elixir to be so powerful. If a pinnacle true treasure absorbed a drop of the termination elixir, wouldn't the grade of the weapon be raised to the level of a holy treasure? Thinking of this, Fang Chen's eyes were burning with desire. Since the termination elixir is so powerful, it must be very rare. Su Qi nodded. The termination elixir is born from heaven and earth. It is very rare to see it in the periphery of the Godfall battlefield. That old corpse man was lucky and found some termination elixir by accident. He knew that he would not be able to protect the termination elixir by himself. Once the news spread, there would definitely be experts coming to ask for it. Hence, he took out a large portion of the termination elixir in advance and gave it to Lord Mo's father to seek his protection. Only then would he be able to protect the termination elixir in his hands. Su Qi had learned all of this from Lord Mo, I see. Fang Chen's heart stirred. In that case, that old corpse man is Lord Mo's father's subordinate. Su Qi nodded. It could be said that way. In the territory controlled by Lord Mo's father, will I be discovered if I use the holy treasure coiling dawn spear? Chapter 3403. Don't worry about that, Master. Lord Mo's father was a super expert who controlled a huge territory. The corpse head continent was only a small part of it. Moreover, it was very far away and couldn't be detected at all. Moreover, when you completely refine the coiling dawn spear, you can change its appearance and aura at will. Even if Lord Mo's father comes personally, he won't be able to recognize you. It was difficult to completely refine a holy treasure. Even Fang Chen had only managed to refine a small portion of it over the years. If I can get a drop of termination spiritual liquid, I can refine the coiling dawn spear in minutes. Su Qi grinned as he spoke. Termination spiritual liquid. Fang Chen's heart skipped a beat. He looked at the white bone trident seriously. This white bone trident contains the termination spiritual liquid. Can it be extracted? Su Qi shook his head. The termination spiritual liquid is a one-time consumable. Once used, it will completely merge with the weapon. If the weapon shatters, the termination spiritual liquid will also dissipate. Fang Chen was helpless. Master, let's leave the corpse head continent quickly. Once we're targeted by corpse head old ghost, we'll be in trouble. Su Qi was a little scared. There was a moment of silence. Fang Chen made a decision. Corpse head old ghost is only a Yang Essence Realm expert. My current strength is comparable to Yang Essence Realm. Other than corpse head old ghost, no one can threaten me. Fang Chen said, even if corpse head old ghost attacks, I'm confident that I can escape unscathed. Since that's the case, why not take the risk? Master, you want to steal the termination spiritual liquid? Su Qi's face was a little pale as he kept shaking his head to dissuade him. However, Fang Chen had already made a decision and no one could change it. What you need to do now is to provide me with as much information about the corpse head continent as possible and the termination spiritual liquid in detail, Fang Chen said. Su Qi smiled bitterly. He could only tell Fang Chen everything he knew. My understanding of the corpse head mainland is all from Lord Mo. I don't know much, Su Qi said. Lord Mo has mentioned the termination spiritual liquid before and he is very interested in it. According to Lord Mo, the corpse head ghost had at least 300 drops of termination spiritual liquid. 300 drops. Fang Chen licked his dry lips, his eyes shining with golden light. Where is the termination soldier spiritual liquid? Such a precious item, the old corpse head ghost must be carrying it with him. The possibility of stealing it is very small, unless the owner can kill the old corpse head ghost. Su Qi said solemnly. Boom. Boom. At this moment, a deafening roar came from outside the valley. Not good, the zombie cavalry corps is here. Su Qi's expression changed drastically. Fang Chen remained calm and collected. He placed Su Qi into his spatial ring and coldly sneered, the termination soldier spiritual liquid, I'll make a breakthrough from your bodies. Dong. The white bone trident carried a boundless killing intent as it blasted open the array formation. Fang Chen's eyes flickered with surprise. As expected of a weapon that has absorbed the termination soldier spiritual liquid. Truly powerful. More than a dozen cavalry corps galloped over on their war horses. They held white bone tridents in their hands and their aura soared to the sky. Human, kill yourself and we can bring your corpse to Lord Corpse Head Ghost to refine you into a zombie. If you resist, we will kill you directly. The leading zombie said viciously. Refine me into a zombie? Fang Chen shook his head. Sorry, I don't like to be in the same group as you ugly fellows. You're courting death. The remaining dozen or so zombie cavalry troops emitted a terrifying murderous aura. The white bone tridents in their hands emitted countless roars of resentment. Fang Chen did not choose to fight them head-on. Instead, he defeated them one by one. Whoosh! Using the heavenly starsword art, the coiling dawn spear pierced into the head of one of the zombies at an extremely tricky angle. Catcher! The zombie's head shattered and its body exploded. Fang Chen waved his sleeve and swept the white bone trident away. Leave the white bone trident behind. The leading corpse man roared furiously. He used all his strength to try and kill Fang Chen. However, Fang Chen's attainments in the space-time Dao were too high. He cultivated the great rock movement technique of the rock race to the limits and even personally improved it. Whoosh! Xiao Chen entered the void. Every time he attacked, he caught the zombies off guard. Not long after, more than 10 corpse cavalry legions were all dead. After putting away everyone's white bone tridents, Fang Chen quickly left the valley. In a black city on the Corpse Head continent, bang! The old Corpse Head Ghost smashed the stone table beside him with one palm strike, scaring the many zombies into trembling. Who was it that destroyed my cavalry corps? Refining ordinary yin essence stage zombies was relatively easy. If they died, so be it. However, even the old Corpse Head Ghost had to expend a lot of effort to refine peak yin essence stage zombies. It could be said that the old Corpse Head Ghost had only 100 peak yin essence stage zombies under his command in the vast Corpse Head continent. However, 20 of them died in an instant. This enraged the old Corpse Head Ghost. Go and investigate. No matter who it is, anyone who dares to provoke me, the old Corpse Head Ghost, will definitely die. Yes, my lord. The Corpse Head continent started trembling. Countless zombies searched every nook and cranny for the culprit. After the zombies left, a black-haired old man sitting across the old Corpse Head Ghost said with a smile, "Brother Corpse Head Ghost, for this person to be able to kill a cavalry corps of 20, his strength should be at the Yang Essence stage. There are not many Yang Essence stage experts in the surrounding regions. Could it be that Black Nose?" The old Corpse Head Ghost shook his head. It should not be Black Nose. If it were him, he would definitely come and seek me out. Then, the black-haired old man wanted to say more. However, after thinking about it, he did not say anything in the end. This should be a small matter for Brother Corpse Head Ghost. There is no need for me to worry about it. The black-haired old man changed the topic. Brother Corpse Head Ghost, are you satisfied with my earlier suggestion? The old Corpse Head Ghost was silent. If you are not satisfied, we can still negotiate. You know that I am currently refining a life weapon, and I am very eager to obtain the termination spiritual liquid. If you can give me a drop, not only will the previous conditions be fulfilled, I will also owe you, Corpse Head Ghost, a favor. This was the highest price the black-haired old man could bear. It is not impossible to give you a drop, but I have a condition. What condition? For me to use you for 100 million years. Hearing this, the black-haired old man's face darkened, and he immediately refused. If that is the case, then I am sorry. After the old Corpse Head Ghost sent the guest off, the black-haired old man flung his sleeve and left unhappily. "H, you want the termination spiritual liquid but you are not willing to pay the price. How can there be such a wonderful thing in the world?" The old Corpse Head Ghost sneered as he watched the black-haired old man leave. "After I kill the culprit who killed my zombie cavalry corps, I will go to your territory. At that time, I hope you can withstand my zombie cavalry corps." Chapter 3404. Corpse Head Continent, Core Mansion. An angry roar reverberated in the air above the mansion. Many of his subordinates were trembling. They knew better than anyone how terrifying Old Corpse Head Ghost was. Once he was angry, they would be affected. "I wonder who dares to provoke, sir. That person has been attacking our zombie cavalry regiment. He seems to be afraid of sir." In the mansion, the zombie cavalry regiment was discussing this matter. In just a month, more than 30 members of the zombie cavalry regiment had died mysteriously. Their weapons had also disappeared. In front of the pavilion, Old Corpse Head Ghost's face was gloomy. He was furious. "A bunch of trash. You can't even find one person?" Beside him, the butler whispered, "Sir, I feel that something is wrong." Old Corpse Head Ghost turned around and looked at him. "Speak. Anyone who comes to my Corpse Head continent is basically here for the Termination Soldier spiritual liquid. This person has been hunting our zombie cavalry regiment members and doesn't dare to show up openly. This means that he is afraid of your strength." The butler continued to analyze. "Every time he succeeds, he will take away the white bone tridents. I suspect that he wants to refine the termination liquid from the white bone tridents." Humph, what a joke. Even a 5-element Saint Realm elite might not be able to do it. Who does he think he is? It was certain that the person in the dark was at most at the yin-yang origin realm. If he was at the 5-element Saint Realm, he wouldn't be afraid of Old Corpse Head Ghost. Looking at him, he should be here to collect the white bone tridents. If that's the case, it will be much easier for us to force him out. Speaking of this, the butler chuckled. As long as we purposely spread the news and let the zombie cavalry regiment carry a large number of white bone tridents and walk on the Corpse Head continent, that guy will definitely appear. After pondering for a moment, Old Corpse Head Ghost nodded. "Let's do as you say." A few days later, a piece of news spread. Old Corpse Head Ghost had made a secret deal with the elite of the other continents. The zombie cavalry regiment would escort 100 white bone tridents to the elite's location. This news spread like wildfire on the Corpse Head continent. Naturally, it also reached Fang Chen's ears. 100 white bone tridents. When Fang Chen heard this, his eyes lit up. "Master, this is most likely Old Corpse Head Ghost's scheme. He wants to force you to show up and then kill you," Suchi reminded him. Fang Chen nodded. How could he not know that this was a conspiracy? But if the zombie cavalry regiment really, it was worth it for him to make a move. "How can I not accept such a generous gift from Old Corpse Head Ghost?" Fang Chen had already made his decision. However, if what the Corpse Cavalry Regiment is escorting isn't the white bone trident, wouldn't you have been tricked? Suchi said. Fang Chen shook his head, his gaze deep. With the Corpse Head Ghost's arrogant personality, I don't think so. His goal is just to lure me out. As for the white bone fork, he's not worried that I can take it away under his nose. But Suchi wanted to say something but was stopped by Fang Chen. Seeing the latter's confident look, Suchi shook his head and prayed in his heart. Now, he was truly tied to Fang Chen. Once Fang Chen dies, Old Corpse Head Ghost will not let him go. A few days later, a 20-man zombie cavalry regiment set off from the core mansion of the continent. They crossed countless mountains and rivers and finally arrived at the area where Fang Chen was. "They're here." Fang Chen hid in a towering tree as he watched the zombie cavalry regiment approaching from afar. It really is the white bone trident. On a horse carriage, there was a huge wooden chest. Around the wooden chest, there was the aura of the termination spiritual liquid. Fang Chen's powerful divine sense instantly locked onto the wooden box. He sneered in his heart. In order to lure him out, Old Corpse Head Ghost really did everything he could. The white bone trident that could have been kept in the Sumeru ring was placed on the carriage. Wasn't his intention too obvious? "Old Corpse Head Ghost, I'll accept your gift." On the wasteland, the zombie cavalry regiment was slowly moving forward. Their attention was also on the surrounding void. It's been a few days. Why hasn't there been any movement? Could it be that that person already knows this is a trap and doesn't dare to appear? I feel that Lord's plan has some flaws. As long as that person isn't retarded, he definitely won't appear. A few zombies discussed in a low voice. On the wooden box in the carriage, there was a flickering mark. This was Old Corpse Head Ghost's mark. As long as Fang Chen appeared, his true body would appear immediately. This was an open conspiracy. I'll place the white bone trident outside for you to discover. Even if you know this is a plan against you, so what? Unless you don't covet the white bone trident, you won't be able to resist such a great attraction. Sure enough, everything was going according to Old Corpse Head Ghost's plan. Fang Chen appeared. Xiu. Suddenly, a terrifying sword light slashed from afar. The terrifying sword energy formed a powerful sword energy storm in the void. Wherever the storm passed, it swept away everything. It's here. The leading zombie shouted in a low voice. At the same time, he used all his strength to resist the terrifying sword energy storm. Boom. 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 This sword energy storm was Fang Chen's strongest attack. The first level of the Heavenly Star Sword art was extremely powerful. Coupled with the Saint Treasure Coiling Dawn Spear, these zombies couldn't resist at all. Crack! Just as many zombies were struggling to hold on, a bolt of lightning descended from the sky and shattered the sword energy storm. Whoosh! The master was fearful and let out a sigh of relief. The mist dispersed, but no one could be seen. Just as the zombies were puzzled, a hearty laugh was heard. Old Corpse Head Ghost, thank you for your gift. As soon as the voice finished, the wooden box shattered. The white bone trident soared into the sky and was taken by Fang Chen. You're courting death. In the void, a monstrous aura swept over. Old Corpse Head Ghost had personally arrived. Heavenly Star Sword art. Fang Chen performed the Heavenly Star Sword art without hesitation. He slashed at Old Corpse Head Ghost's path of attack and blocked him. Just now, he knew that Old Corpse Head Ghost was nearby, but he still made a move. He used a diversion tactic and seized the white bone trident with lightning speed. Boom! Old Corpse Head Ghost roared angrily and smashed the sword light in front of him with a punch. He took a step forward, and the void trembled. Human, how dare you come to my corpse head continent to make trouble? I think you're tired of living. Old Corpse Head Ghost said eerily, my zombie cavalry army was also killed by you, right? Fang Chen nodded. There was no need to hide anything. Good, very good. I've occupied the corpse head continent for so long, and no one has dared to make trouble like this. Old Corpse Head Ghost's robe swayed. Light shot out from his dark eyes. Chapter 3405. Boom. The Old Corpse Head Ghost radiated a wild, murderous aura. A terrifying light shot out of the Old Corpse Head Ghost's cold eyes. The Old Corpse Head Ghost's every action could cause changes in the world. The Old Corpse Head Ghost looked down at Fang Chen from above. Half-step yin essence stage? When the Old Corpse Head Ghost sensed the aura coming from Fang Chen, his expression changed drastically. What's going on? The Old Corpse Head Ghost released his strong spiritual sense, trying to see through Fang Chen. However, the Old Corpse Head Ghost was horrified to discover that no matter how he checked, Xiao Chen's cultivation remained at the half-step yin essence stage. There were only two possibilities for such a situation. First, this person was truly a half-step yin essence stage cultivator. Second, this person had a strong concealment technique that hid his aura. Considering the deaths of the Corpse Head Ghost's cavalry, the Old Corpse Head Ghost believed that the second possibility was more likely. Humph. Trying to mystify me. After thinking for a while, the Old Corpse Head Ghost laughed mockingly. Even if Xiao Chen's true strength was not at the half-step yin essence stage, he could not be that strong, either. If you truly possessed the strength of the yang essence stage, you would have attacked me long ago. You would not have secretly killed my subordinates. At this thought, the Old Corpse Head Ghost laughed mockingly. Then, he opened his hand, and an extremely horrifying energy howled. Essence Spirit Instant Kill, the Old Corpse Head Ghost shouted. Then, a terrifying Soul Dao energy surged out above his head. Buzz. Fang Chen frowned. He felt his essence spirit tremble as if it was greatly suppressed. What kind of technique is this? In the blink of an eye, that horrifying Soul Dao energy charged over. At this moment, Fang Chen finally understood. So, that is the case. Xiao Chen's pupils constricted as he leaped up. He instantly released his peak corporeal stage essence spirit. Wild Soul Dao energy formed a strong defense around him. Boom! The old corpse head ghost's Soul Dao energy contained a special kind of energy. When it came into contact with Fang Chen's Soul Dao energy, it quickly penetrated his Soul Dao energy at an extremely tricky angle. Rip! Fang Chen's essence spirit trembled violently. He flicked his sleeve, and the two different types of soul power exploded with a boom. Instantly, Fang Chen felt his primordial spirit relax a lot. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he quickly retreated. What a terrifying technique! The power of the Soul Dao is actually able to silently infiltrate my Yuan spirit and kill me instantly. Fang Chen was shocked. After Xiao Chen came to the Deity 4 battlefield, he met a young Essence Stage expert. Xiao Chen did not expect the young Essence Stage expert to display such strong means. Although my full strength is comparable to a young Yuan Stage expert, it will still be difficult to defeat the corpse head ghost. Fang Chen quickly pondered. After all, he was not a true yin-yang origin realm expert. Compared to the corpse head ghost, he had many other special techniques besides his comprehension of the supreme law. There were some methods that those without experience would not know how terrifying they were. Soon, Fang Chen came to the conclusion that he couldn't fight them head-on. Let's go. With a thought, Fang Chen unleashed the rock movement technique. A gust of wind arose as he quickly disappeared into the void. You want to leave? The corpse head ghost sneered. He stomped his foot and chased after Yi Shiwen. On my corpse head continent, if you dare to be my enemy, you must be prepared to die. The corpse head ghost was not worried at all that Fang Chen would escape under his nose. That was because this was his territory. The vast corpse head continent was filled with a biting cold murderous aura. This murderous aura contained the aura of the zombies. As an expert of the corpse refining branch, he was very familiar with the corpse chi in the air. Here. He gently pointed his finger, and the void shattered. Fang Chen's figure came into view. Go to hell. The corpse head ghost took out a white bone trident. This white bone trident was different from the one in the corpse cavalry regiment. This white bone trident was very large, and the aura it emitted was more powerful. You should be proud to die under my white bone poisonous dragon trident. As he spoke, the corpse head ghost waved his hand, and the white bone poisonous dragon trident danced. It carried an endless amount of corpse chi as it rushed towards Fang Chen. The white bone poisonous dragon trident was the corpse head ghost's natal weapon. For countless years, it had been soaked in termination spiritual liquid. Moreover, this white bone poisonous dragon trident had absorbed 30 drops of termination spiritual liquid. Its grade had long reached the pinnacle level. The coiling dawn spear was not worth mentioning in front of it. Pinnacle saint treasure? Fang Chen cursed in his heart and hurriedly took out the coiling dawn spear to block. Catcher. The extremely powerful impact did not stop at all and instantly shattered the coiling dawn spear. Fang Chen felt his hand go numb, and then his body flew out like a cannonball. Wang. He felt his body was falling, and below him was an endless dark abyss. Damn it. He tried his best to return to the ground, but after being hit by the white bone poisonous dragon trident, the power in his body was destroyed. He wanted to, but he was powerless. Boom. At this moment, the corpse head ghost's white bone poisonous dragon trident attacked again. Die. The corpse head ghost shouted crazily. There was only one consequence for anyone who dared to cause trouble in his corpse head continent, and that was death. A saint treasure is useless. When the corpse head ghost saw the coiling dawn spear, he was slightly surprised, but soon he revealed a hideous smile. The white bone poisonous dragon trident exploded with shocking power and turned into an endless rainbow that hit Fang Chen, instantly sending him into the abyss. Wang. Thick smoke filled the air above the abyss. The corpse head ghost stood with his hands behind his back and put away the white bone poisonous dragon trident. His face was slightly solemn. I was careless. The corpse head ghost said eerily. He was very angry. Originally, everything was under his control, but he did not expect that Fang Chen's escape route would be the God Corpse Abyss. That guy was hit by the white bone poisonous dragon trident and fell into the God Corpse Abyss. He will definitely die. The corpse head ghost pondered. What a pity for my by GE white bone trident. As the wind blew past, the corpse head ghost's black robe let out a rustling sound. His deep eyes looked at the bottom of the god corpse abyss and did not speak for a long time. After a long while, the corpse head ghost sighed and turned to leave. In the wilderness, the corpse cavalry army cheered when they saw the corpse head ghost return. "My lord, is that guy dead? Can he still live after my lord took action?" Everyone had reached the stage of blind confidence in the corpse head ghost. At this time, the steward seemed to have noticed that the corpse head ghost was not in a good mood. "My lord, that guy was hit by my white bone poisonous dragon trident and fell into the god corpse abyss." After that, the corpse head ghost turned and left. The steward was taken aback and immediately said, "God corpse abyss, does that mean that the 100 white bone tridents are gone?" He felt a pain in his heart. Those were 100 white bone tridents. They were priceless, and they were gone just like that. However, thinking of how terrifying the god corpse abyss was, he kept shaking his head. "Although my lord has complete control of the corpse head continent, there is only one place that even my lord does not dare to enter," the steward muttered to himself. The place that even the corpse head ghost was afraid of was naturally the god corpse abyss. It was rumored that the god corpse abyss had the corpses of powerful cultivators left behind from the ancient battle of gods. They were called god corpses. When the corpse head ghost had just unified the continent, he was a little arrogant and wanted to go in to check it out. However, before he could fall into the abyss, he was injured by the terrifying energy and almost died. After narrowly escaping, he did not dare to step into the god corpse abyss again. There were cliffs all around. Looking up, one could not see the sky. The entire space was in darkness, giving off an extremely oppressive feeling. "What is this place?" Fang Chen looked around and felt that the aura was a little strange. At this time, Fang Chen had 2 terrifying wounds on his chest. His flesh was badly mangled, and his meridians were broken. He sat on the ground, his mind filled with curiosity. "The corpse head ghost's top saint treasure hit my body. My internal organs were damaged, and I almost died." Fang Chen said, "I was already on the verge of death, but after falling to a certain extent, some strange aura appeared around me and invaded my body. It was because of this strange aura that Fang Chen was able to remain conscious. The injuries on his body were also gradually healing." "Did I step into a forbidden area?" Fang Chen said. He described his previous battle to Su Qi. Su Qi was silent. "Don't you know?" Fang Chen asked. After a long time, Su Qi's heavy voice came from the Sumeru ring. "Master, if I'm not wrong, you should have fallen into the god corpse abyss." Fang Chen could hear that Su Qi's words were full of despair. "What is the god corpse abyss?" Fang Chen asked hurriedly. "It is a forbidden area for humans. It is an extremely terrifying place. Even a peak yang essence realm cultivator will die without a doubt after entering." This sentence expressed how terrifying the god corpse abyss was. Fang Chen shrugged. Even a peak yang essence realm cultivator could not enter this place. However, how could he, a half-step yin essence realm cultivator, enter? Moreover, his injuries, which were on the verge of death, were miraculously healing here. What was the reason for all of this? After saying this, Su Qi fell silent again. At this moment, he had given up on his final struggle and was waiting for death to come. "The air is filled with a familiar aura. It is this aura that invaded my body and healed my injuries." Fang Chen frowned. His injuries were quite serious, and they healed relatively slowly. Let's recover first. If he really encountered danger, he would not be able to deal with it in his current condition. This continued for several days. Fang Chen's injuries had healed. His internal organs and meridians were refreshed. He even felt like he had been baptized. He slowly stood up, preparing to explore the legendary god corpse abyss. Buzz. At this moment, he felt a vibration coming from the Sumeru ring. Then, his eyes widened. The Black Broken Sword. Chapter 3406. Fang Chen had obtained the broken black sword from the Jiyu family. At that time, he had studied it for a long time, but he hadn't discovered any secrets. Later, he had obtained a piece of it after a fierce battle with Lord Mo in the crack in the void. The broken sword, which had been silent all this time, had actually made such a huge commotion. Combined with the familiar aura that had entered his body and healed him, Fang Chen was certain that the aura had something to do with the broken black sword. What's going on? Fang Chen's heartbeat sped up, and a trace of doubt appeared on his face. Dong dong dong. Suddenly, the broken black sword struggled out of the Sumeru ring and floated in the air. At this moment, a vast amount of sword chi whizzed in from all directions and surrounded the black broken sword. What powerful sword chi! Fang Chen exclaimed, his eyes wide open. Could it be that the expert who had died in the abyss of god corpses was a sword cultivator? Otherwise, why would there be such vast sword chi and be able to cause the broken black sword to resonate with it? That must be it. Under Fang Chen's gaze, the broken black sword suddenly swayed and slowly flew forward. Let's follow and see. Fang Chen's figure flashed, and he followed closely behind the broken black sword. In the blink of an eye, the broken black sword had arrived in front of the cliff. Whoosh! A terrifying sword light shot out from the broken black sword and bombarded the cliff. In the next moment, debris fell off the cliff, and a stone door appeared out of thin air. Creak! When the stone door appeared, Fang Chen's gaze also saw the scene inside the stone door. Should I go in? The pitch-black broken sword rushed into the stone door at an unparalleled speed, and then it disappeared. Fang Chen was hesitating whether to enter the stone door or not. He could imagine that there must be a great opportunity inside the stone door. However, the greater the opportunity, the greater the danger that accompanied it. Fang Chen was weighing whether this fortuitous opportunity was worth fighting for. According to Su Qi, the abyss of god corpses is a forbidden area for humans. Even experts at the peak of the Yang Yuan stage wouldn't dare to enter. Fang Chen muttered to himself. Even if the corpse-head old ghost dominates the corpse-head continent, he doesn't dare to touch the abyss of god corpses. This is enough to prove how dangerous the abyss of god corpses is. However, he was hit by old Gaol corpse's top-tier saint treasure and was heavily injured. Moreover, he was blasted into the abyss of god corpses. If it was an ordinary martial artist, even if they were not killed by the white bone poisonous dragon trident, they would still die from falling into the abyss. However, not only did Fang Chen survive, but his injuries were also healed by the pitch-black broken sword. In fact, he had even completely recovered. Therefore, Fang Chen was certain that the broken black sword was closely related to the abyss of god corpses. Since you're here, why not give it a try? After pondering for a long time, Fang Chen made an important decision. Thud thud thud. He slowly pushed open the stone door and entered. Boom. The moment he stepped through the stone door, it slammed shut and disappeared. Fang Chen turned around abruptly, and what entered his eyes was a complete cliff. Although he was full of doubts, Fang Chen forced himself to calm down. Thud thud thud. At this moment, Fang Chen felt the earth tremble and the mountains shake. A loud tremor came from the pitch-black tunnel that seemed to have no end. What's that sound? Fang Chen's keen sense of smell immediately detected the danger. However, by the time he reacted, it was already too late. In the dark tunnel not far away, a huge black bear appeared. It's very strong. Fang Chen could feel the terrifying aura coming from the black bear. It was not much weaker than old Gaol corpses. Roar! The black bear roared at the sky, and the sound of a sword came out of its mouth. Fang Chen widened his eyes in surprise. His eyes were like lightning as he carefully sized up the black bear. Only then did he notice that there was a long sword connected to flesh on the black bear's back. Could it be? Fang Chen exclaimed. A legendary sword beast. As a sword cultivator, he naturally knew what a sword beast was. Sword beasts, as the name suggested, were demonic beasts born from sword principle. The world was big and full of strange things. As the times changed and the environment changed, generation after generation of experts were born. In an era so long ago that it was impossible to investigate, a sword principle genius used his own sword principle to breed a demonic beast. When the demonic beast completely absorbed the sword principle aura, the sword principle bloodline would flow in its blood, and its own blood essence would condense into a long sword. This kind of demonic beast, like humans, could cultivate sword principle, so it was called a sword beast. Once it became a sword beast, it would undergo a fundamental transformation. Before this, Fang Chen had only seen records of sword beasts in unofficial history. He did not expect to encounter one at this moment. This sword beast's strength is probably at the early stage of young essence stage. Fang Chen murmured. Human. The sword beast suddenly spoke. You dare to break into my master's tomb. Only death awaits you. However, since you have the broken sword, I can give you a chance. The sword beast stretched out its big paw and pointed at itself. Defeat me and you can pass through this passage. You only have 3 chances. If you fail, I will kill you with my own hands. Hearing this, Fang Chen's expression changed. He must seize the 3 chances. Take this. The sword beast growled. Its huge body was like an arrow released from a bow. Its speed was extremely fast, and it rushed to Fang Chen in the blink of an eye. Boom! Its big paw directly grabbed at Fang Chen's head. It was simple and violent, without any fancy moves. Heavenly Star Sword Principle. Feeling the strong pressure, Fang Chen performed the Heavenly Star Sword Principle. Whoosh! The star-hidden sword shook, and a violent sword light quickly rushed out, colliding with the sword beast's big paw. Dong! The two collided, and an incredible force erupted, causing the whole passage to tremble. Human, your sword skills are good. The sword beast's voice rang out. Before you, there were others who came here, wanting to obtain my master's inheritance. However, their foundations in the sword Dao were too weak, and their sword skills were full of flaws. They could not even block one of my attacks. After saying this, the sword beast looked at Fang Chen with a smile. You obtained the 2 broken swords, but your cultivation is only at the half-step yin essence stage. Hence, I lowered the standard. The sword beast said, as long as you can receive my next move, you pass. The standard for passing through the passage was based on the cultivator's cultivation. Fang Chen's true cultivation was only at the half-step yin essence stage. Hence, he gained a significant advantage. Fang Chen stared at the black bear. It truly lives up to being a sword beast. Its understanding of the sword Dao is so strong. If it were in the ancient primal chaos, it could be considered the top sword cultivator. Fang Chen muttered. Chapter 3407. Normally, those who could come to the Godcorp's abyss were at least young essence stage experts. However, a half-step yin essence stage cultivator came. This surprised the sword beast. Although you are only a half-step yin essence stage cultivator, you are stronger than an ordinary yang essence stage cultivator. This shows your potential. In the sword beast's heart, its master was the strongest existence. Naturally, only experts were qualified to obtain the inheritance that its master left behind. Fang Chen's potential surprised the sword beast as well. Hence, the sword beast lowered its standards. I comprehended this move after watching Master casually swing his sword from afar. This move is strong enough to kill a peak yin essence stage expert. You have to be careful, the sword beast warned. Be careful. Fang Chen nodded and stared at the sword beast. The sword beast's big claws grabbed the long sword on its back. Rip! The sword beast exerted force and pulled the sword out of its flesh. Drops of blood dripped to the ground. Boom! Under the control of the sword beast, the sword swung out gently. Fang Chen could clearly see the trajectory of the sword. What sword technique is this? Fang Chen's lips twitched. This sword technique did not pose any threat to him. The third sword of the Apocalypse sword technique. Xiao Chen even felt that he could block it if he executed the Apocalypse sword technique. However, when the hidden star sword appeared in front of this long sword, it was actually imprisoned. At this moment, Fang Chen finally realized that something was wrong. He quickly swung his sword again. Heavenly Star Sword Technique. This was a sword technique that was even stronger than the Apocalypse sword technique. With just one strike, it caused layers of sword waves to appear in the air. Rumble. The sword chi waves surged in the air, firmly entangling the sword beast's sword. Crack. However, just as Fang Chen relaxed, the vast and mighty sword chi waves suddenly shattered. The long sword attacked with an unimaginable speed. How can this be? Fang Chen exclaimed as his figure instantly flickered. However, The sword beast had already locked onto him. He had nowhere to run. What should I do? Fang Chen panicked, not knowing how to deal with this. Boom. The 9th level of the ancient annihilation secret technique was executed, and the power of the 9 layers was applied to the hidden star sword. The heavenly star sword art was executed once more. In mid-air, a majestic sword chi that seemed to have existed for a long time instantly condensed. Under the control of Fang Chen, its aura skyrocketed and blocked the sword beast's long sword. With the superposition of the ancient extermination secret technique, the might of the heavenly star sword art had more than doubled. Did you block it? In the air, the hidden star sword and the sword beast's long sword collided with each other, and the void was momentarily still. However, before he could finish speaking, Fang Chen was shocked to find that the star-hidden sword was actually broken. Crack! The hidden star sword couldn't bear the heavy pressure and broke into 2 pieces. Hoo! A terrifying sword chi was released from the wound, drowning the sword beast's sword. A deafening sound reverberated throughout the entire tunnel. After a long while, the passageway gradually came to a stop. Is it over? Fang Chen murmured. Clang! The broken hidden star sword fell to the ground. The fog dissipated, and the sword beast remained motionless, staring at Fang Chen with its gong-sized eyes. There was a long sword on its back that was connected to its flesh. Seeing this scene, Fang Chen heaved a sigh of relief. He had almost exhausted all of his strength to barely block that sword attack. This was only the first hurdle that he had encountered. He didn't dare to imagine how many dangers were waiting for him in the future. Clap, clap, clap. The sword beast clapped its hands and praised Fang Chen. I used my origin sword, and its power is comparable to the full force of a peak young essence stage expert, but you blocked it. You're really amazing. After the exchange, the sword beast had a whole new level of respect for Fang Chen. You've only cultivated for a short period of time, but you have such heaven-defying achievements in the sword Dao. It's no wonder that you can obtain 2 pieces of the broken sword. The sword beast continued, since you can pass this hurdle, you won't return empty-handed. I hope you'll be lucky enough to obtain my master's inheritance. As the sword beast finished speaking, it slowly disappeared into the dark passage. The sword beast's words echoed in Fang Chen's mind. Continue forward. Fang Chen raised his eyebrows, adjusted his body slightly, and continued forward. The battle with the sword beast also made Fang Chen deeply aware of his shortcomings. The sword technique that I comprehended after watching from afar has such tyrannical power. Fang Chen was speechless. How strong was the sword beast's master? It was too terrifying. The sword attack just now seemed simple, but it actually contained the strongest sword Dao. That sword attack could affect the surrounding time and space, and it could also suppress people with its power. Most importantly, I was able to sense a terrifying sword Dao that was superior to all sword Daos in that sword move. It seems that I still have a long way to go. After a long time, Fang Chen sighed. The invincible sword Dao that he created was considered a super sword Dao in the primordial chaos. But compared to the sword beast's sword Dao, it was not worth mentioning. Although the invincible sword Dao is still very weak at the moment, it has the advantage of being malleable. As my strength increases, the invincible sword Dao will also continue to upgrade. I believe that one day, the invincible sword Dao will reach an extremely terrifying level. At that time, he would be a true sword Dao Grandmaster. Phew! Taking a deep breath, Fang Chen put aside the image in his mind and continued forward. After a long while, he came to the end of the passage. It was bright outside, and in contrast, the passage was even darker. A chessboard was placed alone at the exit. To Fang Chen's surprise, the order of the chess pieces on the chessboard was exactly the same as the Dao chessboard he had seen in the Thousand Pagoda. Dao chessboard? He had completely deciphered the 108 moves of the Dao chessboard a long time ago. Before he left the primordial chaos, he had copied the Dao chessboard into the sacred palace to test the potential of many sword cultivators. Why is the Dao chessboard here? Fang Chen frowned and pondered. That's not right. Suddenly, his eyes lit up as he found something different. Although the Dao gathering chessboard here has 108 chess pieces, the positions of all 3 chess pieces overlap with one another. Just as Fang Chen was pondering, the Tao chessboard emitted a gentle light. Then, all the information about the Tao chessboard appeared in Fang Chen's mind. After reading it, Fang Chen was enlightened. I see. The Tao chessboard originated from the battlefield of Godfall. The Tao chessboard in the Thousand Pagoda was the small Tao chessboard. The Tao chessboard in front of him was the great Tao chessboard. The great and small Tao chessboards were used to test the potential of martial artists in ancient times. The small Tao chessboard had a total of 108 moves, and each move contained the mysterious supreme law. The great Tao chessboard had a total of 36 moves, but they were more quintessential and contained the great Tao of heaven and earth. I have to decipher the first 6 moves of the Tao chessboard to leave the passage. Chapter 3408. The great Tao chessboard was mysterious. Slowly walking to the chessboard, Fang Chen closed his eyes slightly. He could sense the aura of supreme rules emanating from the great Tao chessboard. The supreme order. Fang Chen murmured. The supreme order was everywhere. This kind of order was above the wind, fire, thunder, and lightning order. It was a kind of order that controlled heaven and earth. If an emperor-to-be wanted to enter the emperor realm, he had to fully comprehend the supreme order. When he entered the Godfall battlefield, Fang Chen had already deciphered the 108 moves of the small Tao chessboard. Now, he encountered the great Tao chessboard again, but this time it was the great Tao chessboard. Let me see what kind of mystery is contained in the great Tao chessboard. Fang Chen sat cross-legged in front of the great Tao chessboard. His powerful consciousness instantly penetrated into the chessboard space. Buzz. As soon as he entered, he sensed a terrifying aura surging toward him. Dao Luo sword. The terrifying aura in the chessboard space quickly condensed into a long sword. Fang Chen recognized the sword at first glance. Crack. Seeing the Dao Luo sword coming toward him, Fang Chen slashed out with his sword. The Tianchen sword principle was his most powerful sword principle so far. When the Dao Luo sword collided with the red glass sword, there was a crisp crack. Then, a violent aura spread in all directions. Buzz. Fang Chen instantly understood. The first move of the great Dao chessboard, deciphered. Although the first move of the great Dao chessboard is mysterious, it is at most comparable to the 18 moves of the small Dao chessboard. Fang Chen grinned. After the short contact, he had basically understood the mystery of the great Dao chessboard. Whoosh, whoosh. In the following time, he continued to brandish the red glass sword. Streaks of terrifying sword radiance whizzed out. The second move, deciphered. The third move, deciphered. The fourth move, deciphered. In just 1 hour, Fang Chen had easily deciphered the first 5 moves of the great Dao chessboard. At this moment, his entire body was enveloped by sword light, and his mind was filled with the profound mysteries of the supreme laws. In his eyes, the supreme ancestral eye was faintly discernible, ready to burst out at any moment. It was also at this moment that he continued to decipher the 6th step. The great Dao chessboard had a total of 36 moves. Every 6 steps was a small step. The 6th step was the first hurdle Fang Chen encountered. If he could not solve it, he would stop here. He would have no hope of obtaining the powerful inheritance in the abyss of the godly corpses. Paramount laws. Fang Chen murmured. In his mind, the scene of him deciphering the small Dao chessboard suddenly flashed. Every image represented every step he had taken to deciphering it. Wang. As time went by, Fang Chen's body radiated multicolored light in all directions. The dark tunnel was illuminated by the dazzling light emitted from his body. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. On the 7th day, Fang Chen's body finally showed some changes. I see. He suddenly opened his eyes and raised his hand. A faint wisp of aura floated in the center of his palm. Break for me. His eyes were like lightning as he instantly shot out a terrifying sword light, shattering the Dao Luo sword at the 6th step with an unstoppable force. Boom. At this moment, terrifying bolts of lightning descended from the sky. The great Dao chessboard in front of Fang Chen suddenly disappeared. Fang Chen took a step forward and arrived outside the dark tunnel. He looked up. At this moment, the sky was covered with dark clouds. Lightning dragons flickered and roared. Am I going to break through? Fang Chen had been dormant in the quasi-emperor realm for a long time. Now, he was finally going to break through. Wang. In his eyes, the supreme ancestral eye that he had absorbed before emerged one after another. The ancestral eyes emitted a gentle glow as they merged with the supreme power of the heavens and earth. At the same time, Fang Chen released his powerful primordial spirit and condensed Dao Luo swords. Boom! Under his control, the Dao Luo swords and the ancestral eye collided with each other, producing a deafening sound. Break and rebuild. Break for me. Fang Chen shouted in a low voice. Lightning danced wildly in the sky. A terrifying lightning dragon with boundless power swooped down and bombarded Fang Chen's body. However, Fang Chen did not show any fear on his face. He stood upright with his hands behind his back and raised his head. His pitch-black eyes stared at the descending lightning dragons with a faint smile. Dong! 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 In the time it took for a spark to fly, countless lightning dragons filled the sky and struck Fang Chen. At this moment, Fang Chen looked like a 30,000-meter-tall demonic god bathed in lightning and absorbed the energy of the ancestral eye and Dao Luo swords. What's going on? Is someone breaking through to the yin essence stage? Why would a half-step yin essence stage cultivator come to the God Corpse abyss? Outside the dark tunnel was a quiet valley. Just at this moment, countless voices came from the valley. Old undying existences appeared in the air, one after another. These old undying existences looked at Fang Chen with stunned expressions. Indeed, he is a half-step yin essence stage cultivator. These old undying existences were shocked. They could not imagine how a half-step yin essence stage cultivator came to the God Corpse abyss. Interesting. This old Daoist has lived for 30 billion years, but I have never seen anyone undergo a tribulation in the God Corpse abyss. When a quasi-emperor advanced to martial emperor, one needed to undergo a tribulation. However, Fang Chen's strength already rivaled that of a young essence stage cultivator. Hence, the lightning tribulation did not pose much of a threat to him. Seeing Fang Chen bathed in lightning, these old undying existences sighed. Rumble. Amidst the thunderbolts, Fang Chen could feel his body getting stronger and stronger. At the same time, the supreme power of law in the surrounding void was gushing into his body. When Xiao Chen looked down, a terrifying whirlpool appeared in his abdomen. The whirlpool was filled with dense supreme law energy. Fang Chen showed a grave expression. The clearest sign of advancing from the half-step yin essence stage to the yin essence stage was the condensing of primordial yin in the body. I wonder how large my primordial yin can be. When one advanced to the yin essence stage and condensed a large amount of primordial yin, it meant that one's combat prowess and potential were stronger. While Fang Chen condensed his primordial yin, the old undying existences discussed with each other. I feel that this fellow is not simple. The primordial yin he condensed should not be less than 30 meters, one of them said. Primordial yin could be measured in meters. Since ancient times, there had been experts whose primordial yin reached more than 300 meters, but there were also some whose primordial yin only reached several dozen meters. However, after the age of Dharma ending, those who could condense 30 meters of primordial yin were already outstanding talents. Practically no one could condense 150 meters of primordial yin. As for the legendary 300-meter primordial yin, it had never appeared before. Chapter 3409. The old monsters looked at Fang Chen thoughtfully. They had already spent countless years in this God Corpse abyss. Time no longer held any meaning to them. Loneliness was the enemy that troubled them the most. Now, someone finally made it here. Naturally, they were very happy. They hoped that this person could remain in the God Corpse abyss for a few more days, so that they could have some fun. Boom! 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 A strong whirlpool appeared around Fang Chen. This whirlpool was formed entirely by the supreme law energy. Fang Chen stood in the center of the whirlpool. The yin essence energy in his body also rapidly gathered. Crack! The yin essence energy gathered extremely quickly. In the blink of an eye, it had already reached 3 meters wide. Boom! The yin essence energy broke out of Fang Chen's body and appeared above him. From the outside, The yin essence energy looked like a sword. It looked very strange and gave off a shocking feeling. This was the most important thing for a yin-yang essence stage cultivator, the source of their energy, the yin essence energy. Whoosh! The yin essence energy that broke out of Xiao Chen's body frantically absorbed the supreme law energy in the whirlpool around him. As a result, it grew increasingly faster. In the blink of an eye, the yin essence energy grew to 25 meters. At this moment, the growth did not slow down, continuing to rise. Boom! Under the gazes of the old men, Fang Chen's primordial yin easily broke through 30 meters. The growth rate did not slow down. Could it be that his yin essence energy can reach 60 meters? A look of astonishment appeared in their eyes. It had been a long time since they saw an outstanding talent with such potential. No wonder he could make it here with his half-step yin essence stage cultivation. He can be considered the first person of this era to break through to the yin essence stage in the God Corp's abyss. As the old monsters chatted, the yin essence energy above Fang Chen's head grew explosively again. 10 meters, 120 meters, 120 meters. When Xiao Chen's yin essence energy broke through 60 meters, the old monsters' expressions gradually turned grave. As they looked at Fang Chen, their eyes turned exceptionally bright. It is already 60 meters, and it is still growing? Heavens! What kind of monster is this? If this were the ancient times, the three of them would not be so surprised. After all, that was the era when the primal chaos realm was at its most prosperous. There were even yin elemental cultivators who were over 1,000 feet tall. A mere 20 feet was nothing at all. However, this was the age of chaos. To be able to reach this step was truly rare. Fang Chen could feel that as his yin essence grew, his strength also soared. So strong. He clenched his fists slightly, and the power in his body vibrated rapidly. I wonder what level my yin essence can reach. Fang Chen was also very curious. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours had passed. At this time, Fang Chen's primordial yin had already broken through the 500-foot barrier. But, what was most shocking was that his speed hadn't decreased at all. Instead, it was still rising. The old bastards in the valley were already dumbfounded. Even they felt ashamed of their inferiority when facing Fang Chen. Impressive. Back then, I was already considered a genius, but I only managed to condense 100 meters. We haven't come out for a long time. Could it be that a great change has occurred in the God's Fall battlefield, and many amazing geniuses have appeared? I wonder if this fellow can break through 1,000 feet. 3 days later, a terrifying primordial yin essence stood above Fang Chen's head. It seemed to have existed since ancient times, exuding a terrifying aura. Fang Chen stood with his hands behind his back under that primordial yin essence. Has it finally stopped? Fang Chen muttered. In 3 days, Xiao Chen had condensed 110 feet of primordial yin essence. The old bastards in the valley were already so shocked that they couldn't speak. 1,000 feet of primordial yin essence. Even in the ancient era, no one could compare to it. 1,010 feet. Fang Chen curled his lips, seemingly somewhat dissatisfied. If not for cracking the great Tao chessboard and accumulating energy in my body for a while, the primordial yin essence might have been larger, Fang Chen said. Brat, be content. Suddenly, a red-haired old man glared at Fang Chen. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Following that, several sonic booms rang out. The old bastards who had been watching in secret all appeared. To be able to condense 1,000 feet of primordial yin essence at such a young age, your potential can be said to be unparalleled throughout history. The black-clad old man said, even in the ancient era, when experts were everywhere, no one could compare to you. Are you still not satisfied? In the age of Dharma's end, those who could condense 100 feet of primordial yin essence were already peak experts. You condensed 1,000 feet of primordial yin essence. Is it not good enough? The old bastards were somewhat speechless. Indeed, comparisons were odious. Huh! Seeing the old men suddenly appear, Fang Chen raised his eyebrows. He cupped his fists and said, Junior Fang Chen greets seniors. As if sensing Fang Chen's confusion, the red-haired old man explained, we are master's servants. Back when Master was still alive, we were responsible for taking care of the flowers and plants in this valley for Master. Fang Chen was stunned when he heard that. He shook his head in disbelief. They were responsible for taking care of the flowers and plants in the valley. Simply put, weren't they janitors? Even such people were peak young essence stage cultivators. In that case, how strong was the master of the God Corpse Abyss when he was alive? Brat, you just broke through to the yin essence stage. Your horizons are too shallow. How could you know how powerful Master was? Back when Master was still alive, he had countless disciples. Any random guard was a yin-yang essence stage cultivator. As for us, although we were responsible for the flowers and plants in the valley, our cultivations also reached the 5-element sage realm. Unfortunately, the red-haired old man sighed and continued, when Master fell, our cultivations fell as well. Whoosh! Fang Chen's heart trembled, stirring up great waves in his heart. 5-element sage realm. These old fellows before Xiao Chen were actually 5-element sage realm experts at their peak. That was an existence second only to primal chaos primes. You are the first half-step yin essence stage cultivator to come here in countless years, the black-clad old man said with a smile. You can condense 300-meter-long yin essence. Your potential is unparalleled. It is very likely that you will obtain the inheritance that Master left behind. As the black-clad old man spoke, he gently patted Fang Chen's shoulder. Seniors, may I ask? After thinking for a while, Fang Chen did his best to suppress the shock in his heart. Then, he cupped his fists and asked, I already solved the first 6 moves of the Great Tao chessboard and passed the test. What other tests are there? Xiao Chen's goal was to obtain the inheritance of the God Corpse Abyss's master. Do you see that place? The red-haired old man pointed to the depths of the valley. Fang Chen looked over and suddenly discovered a pool in the depths of the valley. Above the pool were 2 broken black swords. A broken black sword. Fang Chen exclaimed. Chapter 34:10. The quiet valley was filled with lush greenery. Several old men stood in front of Fang Chen. Judging from their attire, they looked like beggars. However, even Fang Chen did not dare to underestimate them. After all, they were at the peak of the young essence stage. Most importantly, they used to be super experts of the 5-element saint stage. Following the red-haired old man's gaze, Fang Chen saw a strange scene. In the depths of the valley, there was a pool. Above the pool, 2 black broken swords were hovering. The aura of sword principle escaped and rushed into the pool. Ripples appeared on the surface of the quiet pool. Fang Chen raised his eyebrows. Sword principle? He could clearly feel that the ripples on the surface of the pool contained a complicated sword principle. It's not easy for you to come here. We congratulate you for passing the preliminary test left by our master. What you need to do next is to enter the Chaos Origin Sword Pool, absorb the Chaos Origin Sword Chi, and condense the Chaos Origin Sword Seed. Chaos Origin Sword Pool? Hearing this, Fang Chen was slightly stunned. The sword principle that the master of the God's Corpse Abyss cultivated should be the Chaos Origin Sword principle that the red-haired old man mentioned. The Chaos Origin Sword Pool must be the work of the master of the God's Corpse Abyss. Fang Chen was very clear about the process of condensing a sword seed. Boy, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You must seize it. The red-haired old man said in a deep voice, the more sword seeds you condense, the easier it will be for you to comprehend our master's Chaos Origin Sword principle. What you need to do is to try your best to condense sword seeds. The black-robed old man added, you only have 1 month. If you can't condense a sword seed during this time, you will be eliminated. Which one of the people present wasn't a proud and arrogant person? In their opinion, if one could not condense a sword seed in a month, he was not qualified to receive their master's inheritance. Okay, you can begin. The red-haired old man waved his hand. Immediately, Fang Chen found himself above the Chaos Origin Sword Pool. Wang. The 2 black broken swords seemed to have sensed Fang Chen's arrival and let out a cheerful sound. Rip. Just as Fang Chen came into contact with the primordial sword pool, the speed at which the 2 black broken swords spun suddenly increased. They attracted the power in the surrounding void and formed a vortex that enveloped Fang Chen. With the help of the two black broken swords, Fang Chen's entire body sank into the primordial chaos sword pool. This is chaos elemental sword qi. Fang Chen could feel that the stream was filled with a terrifying sword qi. This sword qi was incomparably sharp, as if it could cut open the sky. Begin absorbing. Fang Chen did not waste any time. He closed his eyes and began to absorb the primordial chaos sword qi. Wang. Traces of primordial chaos sword qi drilled into Fang Chen's body. Under Fang Chen's control, it began to condense into a sword seed. A sword seed contained the power of the sword principle. Almost every sword cultivator knew how to condense a sword seed. In order to condense a sword seed, one must have a certain understanding of the sword principle. It was Fang Chen's first time coming into contact with the primordial chaos sword principle. He was very unfamiliar with it, so it was slightly difficult for him to condense it. Boom! When the first ray of primordial chaos sword qi poured into his mind, Fang Chen's body trembled. An earth-shattering scene appeared in his mind. In that scene, a man in golden armor held a long sword and looked down on the world. A mighty wind blew past and he suddenly slashed out with his sword. A sword suddenly appeared in the void without any warning. Wherever the sword light passed, circles of ripples would appear. Fang Chen was dumbfounded. The sword light pierced through his enemy at a speed that was invisible to the naked eye. Moreover, what shocked Fang Chen the most was that when the sword light pierced into his enemy's body, it immediately destroyed the yin-yang essence in his body. His yin-yang essence has shattered. Fang Chen exclaimed. When the yin-yang essence shattered, the enemy died instantly. Whoosh! Just as Fang Chen was shocked, the scene in his mind disappeared. Fang Chen was dumbfounded and did not recover for a long time. Yin Essence realm martial artists condensed Yin Essence in their body. After reaching the Yang Essence realm, another ray of Yang Essence would condense in their body. Finally, Yin Essence and Yang Essence would combine and split into two. This would be the peak of the Yin-Yang Essence realm. The enemy just now was the peak of Yin-Yang Essence realm. However, he could not even block a single sword strike from the man in golden armor. That sword strike just now seemed simple, but it actually contained the terrifying primordial chaos sword principle. It pierced through the enemy's body and shattered his yin-yang essence. Amazing! After a long time, Fang Chen could not help but exclaim. The primordial chaos sword principle was too powerful. It could actually shatter a martial artist's yin-yang essence in one strike. This was extremely fatal in a battle. At this moment, with a thought, Fang Chen closed his eyes and entered a state of enlightenment. His potential in the sword Dao was number one in all of history. He created the unrivaled sword Dao and cultivated the massacre sword Dao, Armageddon sword Dao, heavenly star sword Dao, and many other sword Daos. His understanding of the sword Dao had already reached a terrifying level. Even a peak yin-yang essence realm martial artist might not be a match for him. Just now, he saw the man in golden armor execute the primordial chaos sword principle and comprehended it. Several days later, in the valley, a few old men were puzzled. What is this fellow doing? Why isn't he making use of the time to condense a sword seed? He is trying to comprehend the primordial chaos sword principle. The red-haired old man curled his lips. What a joke! The primordial chaos sword principle is Master's strongest sword Dao. Although he only left behind the first stage of the primordial chaos sword principle, it is not something a yin essence realm martial artist can comprehend. Stupid. This is too stupid. It is simply a waste of time, the black-clad old man said with a gloomy expression. There was only 1 month. Instead of making use of the time to condense a sword seed, he was trying to comprehend the primordial chaos sword principle. Ha! The red-clad old man shook his head and sighed. He originally thought that with this fellow's great potential, he should be able to understand this point. In the end, his cultivation level is still too low. His vision is also incomparable to ours. The few old men felt that it was a pity. They also concluded that it was impossible for Fang Chen to condense a sword seed in a month. In that case, he would be eliminated in a month. After waiting for so long, we rejoiced for nothing. Forget it. How can Master's inheritance be obtained so easily? To obtain master's inheritance, one must be an unparalleled genius. After that, the few old men stopped paying attention to Fang Chen. They would occasionally appear to check the situation in the primordial chaos sword pool and then hide again. Time passed slowly. Soon, the 1-month deadline was up. In the primordial chaos sword pool, Fang Chen still had not condensed a sword seed. He was still in a state of epiphany and had yet to wake up. Chapter 34:11. Time's up. The red-haired old man muttered. The others were expressionless. Let him come out. The black-robed old man flicked his sleeve, and the 2 black broken swords above the primordial chaos sword pool were instantly imprisoned. The vortex in the primordial chaos sword pool also collapsed. Fang Chen suddenly woke up from his epiphany. Phew! Beads of sweat dripped from his forehead. In his mind, he recalled his epiphany in the past month. Primordial chaos sword Dao. Fang Chen murmured. At this moment, Fang Chen felt a strong repulsive force. His body slowly dived and left the primordial chaos sword pool. When the old men looked at Fang Chen, their expressions were somewhat indifferent. They had high hopes for Fang Chen, but the latter disappointed them. Seniors. Fang Chen cupped his fists and came to the front of the old men. You can go. The red-haired old man shook his head. You're too ambitious. How can you succeed in one go? Fang Chen was stunned and hurriedly asked, Senior, there's no need to say any more. A month has passed and you haven't condensed a sword seed. You've been eliminated. Don't worry, even if you're eliminated, we'll send you out of the abyss of immortal corpses safely. However, you can't tell the outside world what you've seen and heard in the abyss of immortal corpses. Otherwise, we won't let you go. Fang Chen's gaze swept across the few old men. Then he said, Senior, why is the primordial chaos sword pool's test to condense a sword seed? Condensing a sword seed is naturally to test the potential of the sword Dao. It's also the initial contact with the primordial chaos sword Dao to facilitate future comprehension. The red-haired old man explained. Fang Chen nodded. Absorbing the primordial chaos sword qi and condensing a sword seed is to pave the way for comprehending the primordial chaos sword Dao. Fang Chen shrugged and said, I haven't condensed a sword seed, but, at this point, a terrifying swordlight shot out of Fang Chen's eyes. With a thought, a majestic sword qi emerged from his body. This is. The old men didn't plan on continuing their conversation with Fang Chen, but when they sensed the sword qi, their expressions changed drastically. How is this possible? Several people cried out involuntarily. They widened their eyes and stared at Fang Chen. That's right, that's absolutely right. Primordial chaos sword Dao. How could he comprehend the primordial chaos sword Dao in such a short time? The red-haired old man suddenly flipped his palm and slapped it towards Fang Chen. The latter instinctively gathered his sword to block the red-haired old man's attack. Hiss hiss hiss. The sword qi collided with the red-haired old man's palm and was caught by the latter. After carefully sensing it, the red-haired old man's body trembled, and his face was filled with excitement. How is it? Several people asked. Crack. The sword light in the red-haired old man's hand shattered, and he nodded heavily. It's the primordial chaos sword Dao. There's no mistaking it. Hearing this, the hearts of the few people were filled with shock. Their gazes towards Fang Chen became extremely heated. You comprehended the primordial chaos sword Dao? The red-haired old man's breathing was a little rapid. Fang Chen nodded and didn't hide it. This, unbelievable, it was simply unbelievable. Even the super geniuses of ancient times could condense a few sword seeds in a month, which was already considered not bad. However, this guy in front of them actually comprehended the primordial chaos sword Dao. After a brief shock, several people tried hard to suppress the excitement in their hearts. Senior, may I ask if I passed? Fang Chen asked. The red-haired old man hurriedly nodded. What a joke. If he couldn't pass even after comprehending the primordial chaos sword Dao, then no one in the world could pass unless his master was reborn. Little brother, previously. The red-haired old man was a little embarrassed. Fang Chen waved his hand. Seniors, you have high expectations of me. Seeing that I didn't condense a sword seed, you're naturally disappointed. I can understand. Ha ha ha, it's good that you understand. You really gave us a big surprise. Too strong. In just a month, you comprehended the first stage of the primordial chaos sword Tao. This is a miracle. The old men were full of praise for Fang Chen. After a long while, they calmed down. Little brother, although you've cultivated the primordial chaos sword Tao, I'm afraid you still have a lot of questions about this sword Tao, right? The red-haired old man took out a scroll from his arms and handed it to Fang Chen. This is the experience of a disciple of my master who comprehended the primordial chaos sword Tao. Back then, I inadvertently helped that disciple, so he gave this scroll to me. Now, I'm giving it to you, hoping that it can help you. Since you've comprehended the primordial chaos sword Tao, you've passed this round and are qualified to be my master's successor. The black-robed old man smiled and said, next, there's one last round. If you can get my master's approval, you can get the primordial chaos sword Tao and also the many treasures left behind by my master. Fang Chen raised his eyebrows and his face was full of smiles. Seniors, if I may ask, is your master the legendary primordial chaos supremacy? Hearing the words primordial chaos supremacy, all of them were moved. Primordial chaos supremacy is an expert who stands at the peak of martial arts. With a thought, he can break the chaos. Such an expert can be called the god of creation. The red-haired old man shook his head. Even in the ancient times, primordial chaos supremacy was a mythical existence. I once heard from my master that a primordial chaos supremacy was born in the ancient times, but I've never heard of him. Primordial chaos supremacy was the pinnacle of this world. Our master is a super expert of the 5 elements sacred realm. Although he looked down on the ancient times, there's still a big gap between him and primordial chaos supremacy. Through their narration, Fang Chen's heart was even more shaken, and he became more aware of how terrifying primordial chaos supremacy was. Such a powerful master of the God's Corpse Abyss was only a super expert of the 5 elements sacred realm. One could imagine how strong primordial chaos supremacy was. In Fang Chen's understanding, primordial chaos supremacy should be similar to the Emperor Realm Masters of the primordial chaos in the Age of Chaos. He shook his head hard to get rid of these thoughts. Primordial chaos supremacy was too far away for him. On the path of martial arts, one can't bite off more than they can chew. One must be down to earth. Fang Chen murmured, "Little brother, come with us." The red-haired old man smiled. His attitude towards Fang Chen was incomparably warm, and he even called him little brother. Whoosh! Following the group, Zhongxian left the valley and soon arrived at a square. In the center of the square, there were 3 stone pillars, and each stone pillar had a carving of a man practicing swordsmanship. Fang Chen's gaze swept across the 3 stone pillars and saw the carvings. The carvings on the stone pillars were simplified and complicated. At first, they were very simple and easy to see, but later, they became more and more profound, and even Fang Chen didn't know what they were. Fang Chen guessed that the carvings on the stone pillars should be the process of a sword cultivator's cultivation. Chapter 34:12. Pieces of white jade were laid out on the square. Upon closer inspection, they looked like the shape of a giant sword. And each piece of white jade had complex sword-shaped runes. The entire white jade square was filled with the aura of the Chaos Origin Sword Principle. Especially the 3 stone pillars in the center of the square, which contained extremely majestic Chaos Origin Sword Qi. Even Fang Chen could not help but exclaim after sensing this sword Qi. "It's too pure," Fang Chen exclaimed. Perhaps only the master of the abyss of the God's Corpse could have such pure sword Qi. Starting from the leftmost stone pillars, the carvings on each stone pillar went from simple to complex. After looking carefully, Fang Chen guessed that the sword principle carvings on the stone pillars should be the process of the master of the abyss of the God's Corpse's sword principle since childhood. Fang Chen could easily understand the carvings on the first stone pillar. He could barely understand the second stone pillar. The third stone pillar was even more dazed. Too powerful. Fang Chen was shocked. He did not know how powerful the master of the abyss of the God's Corpse's sword principle was. He only glanced at the carvings on the third stone pillar and felt a strong visual impact. Phew! Fang Chen took a deep breath and tried to suppress his emotions. These 3 stone pillars are the essence of the master's inheritance, the red-haired old man said. The 3 stone pillars contain the master's remnant consciousness. What you need to do now is to penetrate the stone pillars with your divine sense to stimulate the master's remnant consciousness and gain his approval. Only by gaining the master's approval can you comprehend the chaos origin sword principle in the 3 stone pillars. Now, Fang Chen had only begun to comprehend the chaos origin sword principle and had not yet cultivated the chaos origin sword principle. One must know that no matter how powerful a sword technique was, it also needed a suitable sword principle. Otherwise, its power would be greatly reduced. Before that, I have to remind you. The restriction left by the master is very powerful. You must follow the steps. Without the master's approval, do not try to comprehend the chaos origin sword principle. Otherwise, your life will be in danger, the black-robed old man warned. Fang Chen nodded. He adjusted his body and walked straight to the center of the square. Wang. With a thought, Zhongxian spread out his spiritual sense and swiftly enveloped the 3 stone pillars. Then, Fang Chen closed his eyes and carefully sensed the remnant were left behind by the master of the God Corpse abyss in the 3 stone pillars. Where is it? Fang Chen murmured. His divine sense searched seriously. Say, do you think he'll be able to get master's approval? The red-haired old man asked thoughtfully. It shouldn't be a problem, the black-clothed old man said. Another person shook his head. Not necessarily. You should know that Master once had many disciples. Which one of them didn't have peerless potential? They easily comprehended the primordial chaos sword Tao. Boom. However, before he could finish his sentence, he heard a loud explosion. When the 3 of them raised their heads and looked at the center of the square, they suddenly discovered that there was an illusory remnant thought in the air above the square. It was connected to the sword chi released by the 3 stone pillars, forming a terrifying space of sword chi. They were all dumbfounded. He didn't expect that Fang Chen would be able to obtain his master's approval so easily. Buzz. Fang Chen could feel that the remnant thought in the air contained an extremely strong sword chi. It seemed to be sending him a message, but Fang Chen couldn't sense it no matter how hard he tried. Hiss. Hiss. Even Fang Chen didn't notice that when he tried to sense it, an illusory fluctuation quietly entered his primordial spirit. At this moment, Fang Chen felt comfortable all over. The rejection of the 3 stone pillars disappeared instantly. A smile appeared on his face. The master of the God Corpse abyss had approved of him. Rip. When the rejection of the 3 stone pillars disappeared, the remnant thought also gradually dissipated. It turned into a gust of wind and entered the stone pillars. Fang Chen bowed to the 3 stone pillars. Thank you for your kindness, senior. Then, he walked to the first stone pillar and began to comprehend the primordial chaos sword Tao. The primordial chaos sword Tao had a total of 3 stages. If one mastered the first stage, they would be invincible in the yin-yang origin realm. Naturally, the corresponding primordial chaos sword Tao also had 3 stages. Each stage had 3 moves. The first stage of the primordial chaos sword Tao was hidden in the first stone pillar. Time passed. In the process of comprehending, Fang Chen saw the cultivation process of the master of the God Corpse abyss through the stone pillar. It took Fang Chen 3 months to barely master the first move of the first stage of the primordial chaos sword Tao. Phew. Fang Chen took a deep breath and slowly opened his eyes. How is it? Seeing that Fang Chen had finished cultivating, the old guys quickly walked over and looked at Fang Chen curiously. I'm stupid. I only mastered the first move of the first stage. Fang Chen blushed with shame. He was originally confident that he could master the first 3 moves of the first stage of the primordial chaos sword Tao in one go. However, after actually cultivating it, he realized that he had overestimated his strength. This primordial chaos sword Tao was much stronger than the heavenly star sword Tao. If one wanted to master the first 3 stages of the primordial chaos sword Tao, one would need to be at least in the middle or late yin origin realm. Stupid. The old guys exchanged glances, somewhat speechless. If Xiao Chen was stupid, then was there anyone in the world who was smart? Congratulations on obtaining master's inheritance, the red-haired old man said. The red-haired old man said, The wealth that Master left behind in the abyss of God corpses is too great. It's comparable to the total wealth of a 5-element Saint Realm expert, or even greater. You only mastered the first stage of the primordial chaos sword Tao and are not considered Master's inheritor. Naturally, you cannot obtain all the wealth. Of course, you will not return empty-handed. Master left some wealth for the inheritor who comprehended the primordial chaos sword Tao. After saying that, the old men led Fang Chen around the plaza and to a residence. You mastered the first move of the primordial chaos sword Tao's first stage. You can obtain 3 things. The red-haired old man took out a spatial ring from the treasury. The first is a Soul Tao secret technique called the Heavenly Soul Scripture. After cultivating it, you can temper your primordial spirit and increase its strength. The red-haired old man said, "Don't underestimate this Heavenly Soul Scripture. If it was in the outside world, even 5-element Sage Realm experts would fight over it." Fang Chen was stunned. "Do you know what is the most attractive part of this Heavenly Soul Scripture?" the black-clad old man asked with a chuckle. Fang Chen shook his head. "Senior, please enlighten me. The Heavenly Soul Scripture is a very special Soul Tao secret technique. According to Master, the primordial spirit of a yin-yang origin realm cultivator can easily break through as long as they accumulate enough energy. In other words, the primordial spirit of a yin-yang origin realm cultivator who cultivated the Heavenly Soul Scripture would have no bottleneck." No bottleneck. Fang Chen's pupils shrank. That's right. There is no bottleneck. This is the most attractive part of the Heavenly Soul Scripture. When Master was at his peak, there were countless super experts who came to get the Heavenly Soul Scripture for their disciples, the red-haired old man said proudly. The Heavenly Soul Scripture was a special scripture of heaven and earth. However, although there is no bottleneck, you need enough energy. The black-clad old man added, "As for how much energy you need, you'll know after you cultivate it." The energy needed was nothing more than Soul Tao spiritual herbs, pills, and so on. After giving the Heavenly Soul Scripture to Fang Chen, the red-haired old man took out the second item. This is the yin-yang pill. As the name suggested, the yin-yang pill was a pill refined from the yin-yang origin realm expert's yin-yang origin realm energy after his death. This kind of elixir was not very attractive to 5-element saint stage elites. However, it was fatally attractive to yin-yang origin realm experts. As everyone knew, the yin-yang origin realm experts' yin-yang origin realm and yang origin realm experts would increase as their strength increased. The more yin-yang origin realm and yang origin realm experts had, the stronger they would be. The yin-yang pill could increase the yin origin realm and yang origin realm experts' strength. There are 10,000 yin-yang pills here. Fang Chen took the yin-yang pills and was a little stunned. He did not expect to get so many yin-yang pills. Alright, don't be stunned. This wealth is not worth mentioning compared to Master's true wealth. As Master's successor candidate, you will have many opportunities to obtain wealth in the future. The red-haired old man said. Then, he took out the last item. It was a token. This is Master's token. After you leave, the abyss of God corpses will be completely sealed and isolated from the world. The abyss of God corpses will only appear when you die in cultivation. Of course, if you can cultivate the first 3 moves of the origin sword art and activate the token, you will be transported to the abyss of God corpses. Hearing this, Fang Chen nodded. He made a mental note and put away the token. Alright, I've given you what you need. You will have to work hard for the rest of the journey. The red-haired old man said, "Do you have anything else to say?" Fang Chen thought for a moment. "Seniors, I wonder if there are many sword beasts in the abyss of God corpses?" "Kid, you're actually thinking about the sword beasts." The black-robed old man saw through Fang Chen's thoughts and said with a smile, "There are many sword beasts, but I can't give them to you. If you want them, you must at least cultivate the first level of the origin sword art." Fang Chen curled his lips and shook his head helplessly. "Alright, I'll send you off." As soon as he finished speaking, Fang Chen's figure flashed and disappeared into the void. Looking at Fang Chen's back, they did not speak for a long time. Their faces were filled with complicated expressions. "I wonder if this kid can survive," the red-haired old man said. The danger in the battlefield of god corpses is far from what ordinary people can imagine. Even someone as strong as Master was killed. I really hope he can obtain all of Master's inheritance and lead us to avenge Master. The old men muttered to themselves. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The wind blew wildly. The edge of the abyss of god corpses was covered in fog and visibility was less than 10 meters. Rip. Suddenly, the void was torn apart and a figure slowly walked out. Finally out. Chapter 34:13. Above the god corpse abyss, Fang Chen bathed in the storm as he slowly walked out. Xiao Chen gave off a terrifying aura. The moment he appeared, he stirred up the winds and clouds. Corpse Head Continent. Fang Chen muttered to himself as he raised his head and looked at the Corpse Head Continent before him with his pitch-black eyes. Back then, the Corpse Head Old Ghost had forced Xiao Chen into the god corpse abyss and nearly killed him. Now, he had turned from a cocoon into a butterfly, returning strongly. With Xiao Chen's current strength, he would definitely defeat the Corpse Head Old Ghost if he met it again. After thinking for a while, Fang Chen's figure flashed as he entered the void. Whoosh, whoosh. Several days later, Fang Chen stopped. A group of corpse cavalry soldiers chased after a cultivator in the desolate plain. The Yin Essence stage? Fang Chen raised his eyebrows. Then, his lips curled up in a smile. The person being chased was a Yin Essence stage human cultivator. His entire body was covered in blood, and his complexion was pale. His aura was weak, and it looked like he could not last much longer. Kill him for me, the leading corpse cavalry soldier shouted as he held up his white bone trident. In the next instant, the corpse cavalry soldiers surrounded this person. Humph! How dare you barge into my Corpse Head Continent? You will definitely die. After speaking, the many corpse cavalry soldiers raised their white bone tridents and attacked with all their might. When the human cultivator saw the situation, he smiled bitterly and shook his head gently as if he had already given up on struggling. It's over. As the leading corpse cavalry soldier roared, a terrifying force erupted from the white bone trident and smashed it at the human cultivator. Boom! A deafening sound rang out. Dust flew up in the desolate plain, and a berserk aura spread out. Crack! The leading corpse cavalry soldier's body suddenly shattered. The white bone trident in his hand also flew into the air. What's going on? The sudden change caused the other zombies to be clearly stunned. Immediately after, they saw a figure appear in front of the dying human ancient martial art practitioners. This person was looking at them with a mocking expression. It's you. The corpse cavalry soldiers recognized Fang Chen. Their pupils constricted in disbelief. You are actually still alive? No, that's impossible. My lord threw you into the god corpse abyss. You can't come out alive. The other zombies shook their heads as well. Even the corpse head ghost isn't dead, how can I die? Fang Chen shrugged and ignored the shock of the many zombies. He turned around and helped the human martial artist up. A scorching hot energy was injected into this person's body, nourishing his meridians and preventing him from dying. The man opened his mouth, but Fang Chen waved his hand and said, "You wait on the side. Leave this to me." Arrogant. The zombie cavalry regiment sneered. Maybe you had a fortuitous encounter in the abyss of god corpses and survived, but so what? If you encounter us, you will still die. As soon as he said that, many zombie cavalry armies surrounded Fang Chen. Kill. Many of the corpses attacked together, and white bone tridents containing immense power blasted towards Fang Chen. Too weak. Fang Chen shook his head. These zombies were nothing in his eyes. Be careful. Not far away, the human martial artist shouted. Boom. However, before he could finish speaking, he saw an unbelievable scene. Under the encirclement of many zombies, Fang Chen's expression did not change, and he did not even move his body. One finger. With just one finger, he sent many zombies flying. The human martial artist's eyes widened, and he was tongue-tied. Too strong. His heart was filled with great shock. He could clearly feel the terrifying aura released by Fang Chen's finger after it evolved into sword light. Quickly send a message to Lord. More than a dozen zombies were defeated by Fang Chen in one move. They were terrified and sent a message to the corpse head ghost as quickly as possible. Die! Brother Fang pointed out with his finger once more. A terrifying finger beam containing boundless power pierced through his master's head. Crack! More than a dozen zombies were all dead. Whoosh! Fang Chen waved his sleeves and collected all the white bone tridents into his pouch. In the void, thick smoke filled the air, and many white bones were scattered on the wasteland. Fang Chen stood with his hands behind his back, like a god of war. At this moment, the human martial artist was completely conquered by Fang Chen. In his heart, Fang Chen was the only god. The corpse head continent is the lair of the corpse head ghost. It is very dangerous for you to come here alone. Fang Chen's voice suddenly sounded. The human martial artist recovered from his shock and hurriedly cupped his fists. Thank you for saving my life, senior. I, Chen Su, will never forget this great kindness. I already have a grudge with the corpse head ghost. Besides, you are a fellow human. I will not leave you in the lurch, Fang Chen said. Senior, you have killed so many zombies. The corpse head ghost must already know. Should we? Chen Su was a little afraid. After all, the corpse head ghost's reputation was extremely well known. If you are afraid, then leave first. I will wait here for the corpse head ghost to come. I can settle the grudge between us, Fang Chen said, his eyes filled with killing intent. He had just arrived, but the corpse head ghost had killed him and thrown him into the god corpse abyss. How could he not take revenge? My life was given to me by Senior. If Senior does not leave, how can I leave alone? Chen Su said. Fang Chen nodded and ignored Chen Su. He sat cross-legged on the ground and took out the white bone tridents. Before falling into the god corpse abyss, Fang Chen had obtained hundreds of white bone tridents, but he did not have time to refine the termination soldier spiritual liquid. According to his calculations, the corpse head ghost would need at least 3 days to come here from the core mansion. 3 days is enough for me to refine it. Fang Chen thought to himself and then started to refine the termination soldier spiritual liquid. The half-perfect bloodline could evolve into the termination soldier bloodline. The speed of refining the termination soldier spiritual liquid was extremely fast. Drip. When the last white bone trident shattered, Fang Chen looked at the 130 drops of termination soldier spiritual liquid in front of him and a smile appeared on his face. 130 drops should be enough for the hidden star sword to absorb. Fang Chen muttered. The hidden star sword was broken by the white bone poisonous dragon trident. After dealing with the corpse head ghost, Fang Chen would look for a weapon refining grandmaster to refine the hidden star sword. By then, he would be able to let it absorb the termination soldier spiritual liquid. This much termination soldier spiritual liquid is enough for the hidden star sword to evolve into a saint treasure. Tempestuous waves arose in Chen Su's heart when he saw this. That is, the termination soldier spiritual liquid. He widened his eyes and stared at Fang Chen. He must be a super expert from a top force. Otherwise, how could he refine the termination soldier spiritual liquid from the white bone trident? Even an ordinary 5 elements Saint Realm expert might not be able to do it. At this moment, Chen Su was full of confidence in Fang Chen. With such a heaven-defying method, the corpse head ghost was nothing. No wonder Senior is so confident. It turns out that you have concealed your strength. Chapter 34:14. 3 days ago, in the core residence of the corpse head continent, a black-armored man stood in the residence with a cold expression. Opposite him was old corpse head ghost. Divine General Blackdrum, please excuse me for not going out to meet you, old corpse head ghost said with a smile. This person was Divine General Blackdrum under Lord Mo Dao and had a high status. Even old corpse head ghost had to greet him with a smile. Lord Mo Dao is forging a weapon and needs a lot of termination spiritual liquid, so he sent me here to bring some back. Divine General Blackdrum said coldly. His words were filled with coldness. Quickly prepare 1,000 drops of termination spiritual liquid. If Lord Mo Dao successfully forges this weapon, he will give you 2 continents. Hearing this, the corpse head ghost's eyes shone with a golden light. Although every continent in the battlefield of the gods was broken, after the Battle of the Gods, Every broken continent was filled with endless wealth. He was only occupying one corpse head continent, but his cultivation speed was so fast. If he was given 2 more continents, he would be even more powerful, and he would have more authority in front of Lord Modao. I'll go prepare now. Please wait a moment, Divine General Blackdrum. Old corpse head ghost smiled. However, just as he was about to leave, his expression suddenly changed. Sorry, there's a problem on the corpse head continent, and I need to deal with it. Please wait for me here. Divine General Blackdrum nodded. It shouldn't be a big deal, and he should be able to return soon. Whoosh, whoosh. In the void, the old corpse head ghost flew at an extremely fast speed. In just 3 days, he arrived at the location of the incident. According to the address sent by the Corpse Cavalry Legion, it should be up ahead. Old corpse head ghost's eyes were filled with murderous intent. "Mph, I don't care what you experienced in the abyss of the god corpse, but you must die today." In the wilderness, Fang Chen got up and put away the termination spiritual liquid. "He's here." He sensed old corpse head ghost's aura. Rumble. Suddenly, the clear sky became gloomy and dark clouds covered the sky. The entire world was dark. As for the corpse head ghost, it walked out from the darkness with unparalleled power. "Brat, it really is you," old corpse head ghost said angrily when he saw Fang Chen. "You took 3 days to arrive. You're really slow." Fang Chen stretched and said indifferently, "Mph, you know you can't escape, so you're pretending to be calm?" From his point of view, Fang Chen knew that he couldn't escape from the corpse head continent, so he chose to risk his life against him. "You dared to provoke me, the corpse head old ghost. I will let you taste the cruelest punishment in this world." The corpse head ghost saw the white bones on the wasteland, and his face turned gloomy. "Coincidentally, I'm also preparing to settle my grudge with you." Fang Chen shrugged. "You are courting death." The corpse head ghost's figure flashed and instantly appeared in front of Fang Chen. At the same time, the white bone poisonous dragon trident appeared in his hand. "Die for me." The power of the white-boned poisonous dragon trident was extremely strong. Even the hidden star sword was shattered. One could imagine how strong it was. However, this time, Fang Chen didn't dodge. "Get lost." Fang Chen clenched his fist and punched out. The vast and mighty power formed a powerful fist radiance in the void. The terrifying power rippled out in circles. "I only need one move to kill you." Fang Chen's ice-cold and incomparably confident voice resounded in the void. Hearing this, the corpse head ghost was completely enraged. "Mitch, you're courting death." The white-boned poisonous dragon trident in the old corpse head ghost's hand smashed the fist radiance in the void and attacked Fang Chen's side. "Senior, let me help you." Not far away, Chen Su saw this and gritted his teeth. He used the last bit of strength in his body to block the white-boned poisonous dragon trident and buy time for Fang Chen. The corpse head ghost's white-boned poisonous dragon trident is extremely powerful. Countless yin-yang origin realm experts have died under his trident. Chen Su thought to himself. However, before he could get close to the corpse head ghost, he was blown away by the terrifying aura released from the white-boned poisonous dragon trident. Crack! His body fell to the ground. His bones were broken and blood flowed. He was seriously injured and on the verge of death. "Trash," the corpse head ghost said coldly. "It's a good time to use your white-boned poisonous dragon trident to test my Hunyuan sword art." Looking at the white-boned poisonous dragon trident in front of him, Fang Chen muttered to himself. The Hunyuan sword art was derived from the Hunyuan sword doctrine. It was an extremely powerful sword art. This sword art was much more powerful than the destroyer sword art. After all, it was created by an expert at the peak of the 5 elements saint realm. Hunyuan sword doctrine. Buzz. A mighty sword chi surged out of Fang Chen's body. Then, the red glass sword appeared in his palm. The first move of the first level of the Hunyuan sword art was instantly performed. One move. It was incredibly fast. Within the red glass sword, an unimaginable sword light was emitted, fiercely colliding with the white-boned poisonous dragon trident. Crack! The white-boned poisonous dragon trident was hit by a terrifying force and fell to the ground. The terrifying sword light did not stop and pierced through the corpse head ghost's body. What sword art is this? The corpse head ghost was horrified. He wanted to dodge, but it was too late. Get lost. The corpse head ghost roared. He tried to refine the sword light with all his strength. However, he was shocked to find that the moment the sword light entered his body, a crack appeared in his yin-yang origin energy. No. The corpse head ghost seemed to have thought of something. His pupils constricted and he roared furiously. Ah! A miserable scream came from his mouth. The yin-yang origin energy in his body cracked. Boom! After struggling for 3 seconds, the yin-yang origin energy of the corpse head ghost completely shattered. His body shook a few times and fell to the ground. He's dead. In the distance, Chen Su's eyes widened. He killed the corpse head ghost with just one move? The corpse head ghost was a top expert in the yang origin stage with his white-boned poisonous dragon trident. However, he was killed by a yin origin stage expert. Too strong. Chen Su was certain in his heart that Fang Chen was definitely a hidden expert. That sword strike actually made me feel like my yin-yang essence was trembling. Fang Chen played with the white-boned poisonous dragon trident in his hand. He could feel the dense aura of the termination spiritual liquid. This fellow is really generous. Fang Chen was flabbergasted. The white-boned poisonous dragon trident was stronger than an ordinary white-boned poisonous dragon trident because the corpse head ghost had used the termination spiritual liquid to create it. After putting away the white-boned poisonous dragon trident, Fang Chen looked in the direction of the core residence in the distance. He had just arrived and was unfamiliar with the God's Fall battlefield. Now that the corpse head ghost is dead, the corpse head continent no longer has a master. I'll stay here and recuperate. I'll learn more about the God's Fall battlefield and search for the termination spiritual liquid. Fang Chen's true goal was the termination spiritual liquid. However, what he did not know was that the moment he killed the corpse head ghost. Chapter 34:15. Corpse head ghost is dead. Divine General Blackdrum was furious. He stood up with a ferocious expression, his eyes filled with cold light. I was ordered by Lord Mo Dao to ask for the termination spiritual liquid. Not only did I not get it, but the corpse head ghost was killed. Creak. Divine General Blackdrum clenched his fists, his veins popping out. He was furious. Although the corpse head ghost is dead and I can get the termination spiritual liquid, it is more troublesome. Moreover, no matter what, that old corpse head ghost is under Lord Mo Dao's protection. Thinking of this, Divine General Blackdrum's body flashed and entered the void. Whoosh. Whoosh. We will reach the place where the corpse head ghost died in a day. Divine General Blackdrum said gloomily. However, right at that moment, a figure appeared in the sky and approached from afar. A human martial artist. Divine General Blackdrum's consciousness locked onto Fang Chen. He sensed the murderous aura on the latter and quickly discovered the remnant aura of the corpse head ghost on him. It's you. Divine General Blackdrum was furious and threw out a punch. Crack. The void was torn apart as Fang Chen's body came to a stop. He threw out a punch to block the Divine General Blackdrum's attack. Who are you? Fang Chen was shocked. He did not expect there to be another expert on the corpse head continent besides the corpse head ghost. You killed the corpse head ghost? Divine General Blackdrum said coldly. You want to avenge him? Fang Chen raised his eyebrows. Humph. I am Divine General Blackdrum under Lord Mo Dao. You killed the corpse head ghost and committed a capital offense. Today, I will kill you. As soon as he finished speaking, the Blackdrum General's figure flashed and charged in front of Fang Chen. A dark aura surged from his body. He opened his palm and a war hammer appeared in his palm. Kill. The corpse head ghost's cultivation was at the advanced Yang Yuan realm, but with the white bone poisonous dragon trident, his strength was comparable to an expert at the peak Yang Yuan realm. As for the Blackdrum General in front of him, his cultivation was clearly stronger than the corpse head ghost. Peak Yang Yuan realm? Fang Chen grinned. He might be afraid of an expert at the complete realm who had Yin-Yang Yuan realm. Unfortunately, he was not. Heavenly Star Sword Art. Fang Chen held the white bone poisonous dragon trident and used it to execute the heavenly star sword art. Whoosh! A terrifying sword light whizzed through the air. Divine General Black Drum sneered when he saw this. Humph. You think you're invincible in Yin-Yang Yuan realm? Kid, you're too naive with that. Divine General Black Drum swung his hammer with boundless power at the sword light. Crack. The head ghost's ghost head black drum god. Chaos sword art. Fang Chen's figure flickered as streaks of sword light filled the void. Boom. Divine General Black Drum's sledgehammer missed its target and smashed into the ground, instantly causing the ground to crack. At that moment, Divine General Black Drum was shocked to discover that he couldn't find any traces of Fang Chen. Humph. I don't believe you can be a coward forever. Divine General Black Drum continued to use his strongest attack to force Fang Chen to show himself. Although Divine General Black Drum is strong, his attacks have too many flaws. Fang Chen said secretly. He saw several flaws in Divine General Black Drum's attacks after only one exchange. His hammer should be at the same level as the white bone poisonous dragon trident. It's a top true treasure. It's still far from a holy treasure. After thinking for a while, Fang Chen came up with a plan. He suddenly appeared behind the Divine General Black Drum and continuously used the origin sword technique. The exquisite primordial chaos sword technique quickly formed a sword net in the void and enveloped the Divine General Black Drum. Break. Divine General Black Drum was too confident in his strength. He underestimated his opponent, causing him to be enveloped by the sword net. He struck out with his hammer, trying to break the sword net with brute force. However, when his sledgehammer came into contact with the net of swords, his expression changed greatly. Oh no! He felt that the sword chi in the sword net was eroding his yin and yang essence. Retreat. Without thinking, Divine General Black Drum chose to retreat. Eroding yin and yang essence was something even he couldn't do. It's his sword art. Only then did Divine General Black Drum react. Whoosh. But it was too late. Fang Chen secretly set up a powerful sword formation. Using it as a foundation, he continued to use the chaos sword art. Terrifying sword light rippled in the void. The void was filled with terrifying chaos sword chi. Damn it. Divine General Black Drum tried his best to resist, but to no avail. Whoosh. He gritted his teeth, took out a small drum the size of a palm, and used his strength to activate it. Boom. Boom. A terrifying aura was released from the small drum, and 7 shining stars appeared in the sky above it. Kid, you forced me to do this. Divine General Black Drum's face was ferocious. 7 stars sky drum, suppress. Divine General Black Drum roared. Holding the small drum, he controlled the 7 shining stars and charged at Fang Chen. Hey! Fang Chen exclaimed softly. He sensed that the black drum was extraordinary. What the hell is this? Fang Chen frowned. Senior, be careful. This is Divine General Black Drum's 7 stars sky drum. It contains an ancient formation. Once activated, it will condense 7 stars and form a formation. In the distance, Chen Su warned. Once trapped by the formation, even a perfected yin-yang origin realm expert will find it difficult to escape. Divine General Black Drum's strength was originally at the bottom of the Divine Generals under Lord Mo Dao's command. However, the 7 stars sky drum made Divine General Black Drum's status among the Divine Generals soar. With the 7 stars sky drum, his battle strength could be ranked among the upper echelons of the Divine Generals. Even the first Divine General was rather wary of the 7 stars sky drum. In other words, only those old monsters who had reached an extremely terrifying level in the Dao of formations could break this formation. Could it be a relic from the ancient era? After hearing Su Qi's reminder, Fang Chen thought to himself. Buzz. While Fang Chen was thinking, the 7 stars sky drum floated in the air. 7 shining stars quickly fell and scattered in 7 different places on the ground. Following this, a terrifying aura of the Dao of formations spread across the place, connecting the 7 stars together and forming an enormous formation. The formation is complete. Divine General Black Drum stared at the 7 stars sky drum and roared. He poured his strength into the small black drum. Humph, no matter how strong you are, You can't resist the power of my 7 stars formation. Chapter 34:16. Ha ha ha. Divine General Black Drum laughed heartily. So what if your swordsmanship is strong? In the end, you are still trapped by my 7-star ritual array. Seeing Fang Chen racking his brains to break the ritual array, Divine General Black Drum said disdainfully, it's useless. Only a consummation yin-yang origin stage expert can block it. As for breaking it, that's impossible. You are just a yin origin stage cultivator. You are dreaming if you think you can break it. Inside the 7-star ritual array, Fang Chen could feel powerful auras coming from all directions. They were constantly pressuring him and weakening the power in his body. This 7-star ritual array is rather profound. Fang Chen was flabbergasted. After probing for a while, he could sense the extraordinariness of the 7-star ritual array. This ritual array already surpassed the level of an emperor-level ritual array. Even Fang Chen would find it difficult to break it in a short time. An invisible energy entered Fang Chen's body and quickly shrouded his yin origin energy. Binding yin origin energy? Fang Chen frowned. The core of the 7-star ritual array was the 7-star heavenly drum. The base of the ritual array was the 7 shining stars. After the ritual array formed, the energy it released actually tried to lock down Xiao Chen's yin origin energy. Once the yin origin energy is locked down, it will suffer a destructive blow. Fang Chen understood. No wonder even a consummation yin-yang origin stage expert can barely block it and not break the ritual array. The energy attacking the ritual array would rebound back to him. In other words, the stronger he attacked the array formation, the stronger the binding force on his yin essence would be. Trapped in such a ritual array, ordinary yin-yang origin stage cultivators would panic and not think about such things. Furthermore, their attainments in the array Dao were very low. Even if they thought about it, they would find it hard to discover its mysteries. Fang Chen did not act rashly. Instead, he stood quietly and dissected the 7-star ritual array. Humph! Putting on an act. Divine General Black Drum sneered. He stomped his foot and entered the 7-star ritual array. Then, he threw a punch at Fang Chen. In the distance, Chen Su continuously shook his head with a gloomy expression. It's over, it's over. Senior is trapped by the 7 stars heavenly drum. He's dead for sure. There were several times when Chen Su wanted to rush forward to help, but his rationality told him that doing so would only lead to death. Senior, if you die, I, Chen Su, will definitely do everything in my power to avenge you. Chen Su swore to himself. Inside the 7 stars array, the Black Drum General was connected to the 7-star heavenly drum and could appear in any corner of the array formation at will. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying fist radiance appeared behind Fang Chen. Whoosh! Fang Chen was already prepared. The white bone poisonous dragon trident was placed horizontally behind him. Crack! The fist glow shattered and a faint scar also appeared on the white bone poison dragon trident. You! Upon seeing this, Divine General Black Drum was somewhat astonished. However, his face quickly turned gloomy. I have the support of the 7-star Great Array, so my power will only grow stronger. However, you are restricted by the 7-star Great Array, so your yin yuan is getting weaker and weaker. I want to see how long you can last. Divine General Black Drum sneered. He once again disappeared into the void and launched sneak attacks on Fang Chen from time to time. Divine General Black Drum's attacks are not much of a threat to me. What I really need to pay attention to is the 7-star heavenly drum. Fang Chen muttered. Sensing that the yin yuan's range of movement had shrunk, Fang Chen's expression turned somewhat grave. He had to break the 7-star Great Array in the shortest time possible. Otherwise, his life would be in danger. Buzz! Suddenly, a bold idea appeared in Fang Chen's mind. Immediately, he sat cross-legged on the ground and gently waved his hand. Immediately, powerful sword radiances intertwined, forming a perfect sword net. The sword net slowly descended and enveloped Fang Chen. Boom! At this moment, Divine General Black Drum's attack landed on the sword net. Dong! The sword net trembled. Divine General Black Drum's sledgehammer felt a powerful recoil and was constantly pushed back. Damn it, it's this move again. Divine General Black Drum said angrily. Hiding in the sword net, Fang Chen took out the white-boned poisonous dragon trident. Hiss, hiss, hiss. His half-perfect bloodline circulated and instantly evolved the baleful soldier bloodline. A layer of blood-red aura spread throughout his body. He gripped the white-boned poisonous dragon trident with both hands, and in the blink of an eye, drops of baleful soldier spiritual liquid appeared in front of him. This is, Divine General Black Drum, who was attacking, was completely stunned. Refining baleful soldier spiritual liquid from the white-boned poisonous dragon trident. How is this possible? He rubbed his eyes hard and stared at Fang Chen. 2 hours passed in the blink of an eye. During this time, Divine General Black Drum controlled the 7-star heavenly drum to wildly attack Fang Chen. However, the latter's sword net continued to hold firm. Boom. Finally, after a bombardment, cracks appeared on the sword net and it was on the verge of shattering. TMPH, let's see how you're going to block this. Divine General Black Drum frenziedly attacked the sword net in one go. Crack. When the sword net shattered, Fang Chen's body suddenly bounced up and hovered in the air. Divine General Black Drum. Fang Chen said, do you really think that I can't do anything to your 7-star heavenly drum? TMPH, you're still putting on airs at this time? Divine General Black Drum said fiercely. Fang Chen shook his head and shrugged. That's right, in your eyes, the 7-star Great Array is invincible. Fang Chen grinned and said, but in my eyes, it's full of loopholes. As soon as he finished speaking, Fang Chen took out nearly 200 drops of baleful soldier spiritual liquid. Hiss. Terrifying sword chi was released from his body. There was invincible sword chi, massacre sword chi, heavenly star sword chi, and the most terrifying chaos origin sword chi. The 4 sword chi intertwined with each other, forming a terrifying sword light. The most shocking thing was that this sword light actually merged with Fang Chen's body, forming a human-shaped weapon. Absorb. Fang Chen shouted. He opened his mouth and frantically absorbed the baleful soldier spiritual liquid. Nearly 200 drops of baleful soldier spiritual liquid were absorbed in an instant. After the baleful soldier spiritual liquid entered his body, it quickly spread throughout his body under the guidance of the baleful soldier bloodline. What is this? Divine General Black Drum was at a loss, not knowing what Fang Chen was doing. However, the murderous intent in his eyes surged. Go to hell. This attack contained his strongest power, and he was determined to kill Fang Chen. Turning my body into a sword, piercing through heaven and earth. The baleful soldier spiritual liquid rapidly increased the strength of Fang Chen's physical body. When Divine General Black Drum attacked, the human-shaped long sword soared into the sky and pierced towards the top of the 7-star Great Array. Boom. The human-shaped long sword cleverly pierced through Divine General Black Drum's attack and pierced the top of the 7-star Great Array. Crack. A crisp sound was heard. A crack appeared in the 7-star Great Array. Buzz. Layers of mighty sword chi rippled out. In the sky, the 7-star heavenly drum shook incessantly, and the 7-star Great Array swayed as if it could shatter at any time. Crash. The human-shaped long sword reverted to its original form, and Fang Chen appeared. Whoosh. Chapter 34:17. Crack. The energy within the 7-star array receded, and the crack grew larger and larger until it finally shattered. The entire process happened so quickly that Divine General Black Drum did not even have time to remedy the situation. Boom. Boom. After the 7 stars array shattered, 7 beams of starlight burst out of the ground and shattered. After the array shattered, a terrifying power spread out in all directions. Divine General Black Drum suffered a powerful backlash and was sent flying. His eyes widened in disbelief. He can actually break the 7-star array? Divine General Black Drum's face turned gloomy, madness in his eyes. He must have used some sort of sacred treasure. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to break the 7-star array. Whoosh. The 7-star sky drum swayed as it returned to Divine General Black Drum's hand. At this moment, the 7-star sky drum had already dimmed. It was clear that Fang Chen breaking the 7-star array had damaged it to a certain extent. He used all his strength to break the 7-star array. His body should be extremely weak. Divine General Black Drum thought for a moment, Then he charged at Fang Chen with the 7-star sky drum in his hand. Die for me. Divine General Black Drum was certain that this person had a shocking secret to be able to break the 7-star array at the Yin Essence realm. After I kill you, everything of yours will be mine, Divine General Black Drum coldly said. Divine General Black Drum coldly said. He thought about how Fang Chen could refine Termination Soldier spiritual liquid from weapons and how he could transform his body into a sword and absorb the Termination Soldier spiritual liquid. All of these actions made Divine General Black Drum's heart tremble. If he could obtain these secret methods, his ranking among the immortal generals under Lord Mo Dao's command would definitely rise again. He might even become the third protector. In this territory, Lord Mo Dao was like an invincible existence. Apart from the 9 divine generals, he also had 2 protectors who were above the divine generals. These 2 protectors could be said to be Lord Mo Dao's right-hand men, as well as his stewards. Under normal circumstances, it was the 9 divine generals who took action. The 2 protectors rarely took action. However, Divine General Black Drum knew that the 2 protectors had a much higher status than the first divine general. They were Lord Mo Dao's true subordinates. As for the divine generals, they were at most high-level experts. Die. With this in mind, Divine General Black Drum circulated all his strength in an attempt to activate the 7 stars heavenly drum once again. However, Fang Chen did not give him the chance. Primordial Chaos Sword Art. Upon seeing the Black Drum General attack, Fang Chen immediately used the Primordial Chaos Sword Art. A terrifying sword light floated out from the red glass sword. The moment the sword was unleashed, the heavens and earth changed colors. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the sword struck the 7-star heavenly drum. Dong dong dong! The palm-sized 7 stars heavenly drum let out a drumming sound that shook the heavens. Crack! The defense around the 7-star heavenly drum was instantly shattered as a dazzling sword light pierced through it. Poochie! The terrifying sword chi blasted the 7-star heavenly drum away and surged into Divine General Black Drum's body, corroding his yang yuan. Not good. Divine General Black Drum, who had just stabilized himself, cried out in shock. With a thought, he absorbed the 7 stars heavenly drum into his body to help block the Chaos Origin sword chi. At the same time, he leaped and fled in the direction of the core residence of the Corpse Head continent. This person's sword technique is too strange. I can't fight him head-on. As long as he fled to the core residence, he should be able to block this person's attack with the help of the many restrictions and the Corpse Head Ghost's foundation over the years. At that time, he would have enough time to call for reinforcements. Humph, I'll let you be smug for a while. Divine General Black Drum said viciously as he fled. You can't escape. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Fang Chen used the rock movement technique and his speed soared to the extreme. His body was filled with rich spacetime power, changing the flow of time in a small area around him. Transforming into a sword consumes too much energy. Fang Chen grinned. If he was in his peak state, he would have caught up with Divine General Black Drum. But now, he had just used transforming into a sword and had absorbed nearly 200 drops of Termination Soldier spiritual liquid. He had consumed a lot of energy, so his speed was naturally much slower. Whoosh! Fang Chen took a deep breath and looked ahead coldly. Although his speed had decreased, everything was under his control. I should try not to use it in the future. Transforming into a sword came from the Chaos Origin Sword principle. This technique was created by the master of the God's Corpse Abyss. It was Fang Chen's first time using it. He combined the Chaos Origin Sword principle and the Chaos Sword body to transform his body into a giant sword and absorb the Termination Soldier spiritual liquid. Of course, it was difficult for ordinary sword cultivators to absorb the Termination Soldier spiritual liquid even if they could transform into a sword. However, Fang Chen had a half-perfect bloodline and could only succeed if he evolved the Termination Soldier bloodline. While moving, Fang Chen looked inside his body. He suddenly realized that dense amounts of Terminating Soldier spiritual liquid were gathering from his limbs and bones. Seeing this, Fang Chen shook his head. He was not a real weapon, so he could not absorb the Termination Soldier spiritual liquid. Even if he transformed himself into a sword, it was only a temporary absorption to increase his strength. Rip! With a thought, He took the Termination Soldier spiritual liquid out of his body and put it into his bag. He then turned into a rainbow and disappeared into the void. The core mansion was located at the center of the corpse head continent. This was the lair of the corpse head ghost. Without permission, no one was allowed to enter. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, a black ray of light shot out from the sky. "Who are you?" the two guards shouted angrily. However, the black ray of light did not stop and continued to shoot toward them. Seeing this, the two guards were enraged and attacked at lightning speed. Scram! Divine General Black Drum attacked in anger. A terrifying fist light bombarded the two of them. Crack! One of the guards died on the spot. The other guard was seriously injured and collapsed on the ground. That is Divine General Black Drum? The guard was terrified when he saw the black ray of light clearly. He seems to be running away. Divine General Black Drum entered the core mansion in a sorry state. The guard's eyes widened. Who dares to chase after Divine General Black Drum on the corpse head continent? Even his master, the corpse head ghost, would not dare to do so. Divine General Black Drum, you can't escape. Just as he was in shock, a voice came from afar. Whoosh! Fang Chen followed closely behind Divine General Black Drum and arrived at the core residence. He killed the corpse head ghost. Kill him for me. Divine General Black Drum panicked and ordered. Hearing this, the zombie cavalry army was in an uproar. What? Master is dead. Kill him and take revenge for Master. These zombies were all made by the corpse head ghost and were extremely loyal to him. Even if they could not defeat him, they had to take revenge. Whoosh! Sword light whizzed past one after another. Any zombies that got close to Fang Chen were all killed. Fang Chen held the red glass sword in his hand. Like a killing god, he stepped on the white bones and walked toward the core mansion. Activate the restriction. Divine General Black Drum grabbed the corpse head ghost's butler and threatened. The latter nodded and activated the restriction in a hurry. At the same time, Divine General Black Drum took out a token to send a message. A moment later, his face darkened. I can't send a message? Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that the corpse head ghost had accidentally obtained this restriction when he was exploring the ancient ruins. Those below the five-element saint realm could not send a message. You want to stop me with a mere restriction? Fang Chen used the first level of the origin sword art again. A terrifying sword radiance descended from the sky and heavily bombarded the seal. Crack! The restriction shook, and the butler who was controlling the restriction was sent flying. Trash! Divine General Black Drum personally controlled the restriction. His eyes were full of viciousness. Kid, I am Divine General Black Drum under Lord Mo Dao. Are you really going to kill me? Divine General Black Drum threatened. If you kill me, Lord Mo Dao will never let you go. You will definitely die then. Offending Lord Mo Dao was not a choice he knew. If you turn around and leave now, I can let bygones be bygones. Ha ha, Fang Chen looked at Divine General Black Drum with a mocking smile. The latter's eyes betrayed him. Fang Chen believed that if he turned around and left now, he would be hunted down by Lord Mo Dao's subordinates soon. Rather than that, it was better to eliminate the source of trouble. If we were in each other's shoes, would you let me go? Fang Chen asked in return. Divine General Black Drum was stunned and fell silent. Indeed, if they were in each other's shoes, he would definitely kill him without hesitation. However, even with that being the case, he still tried everything he could to survive. Mate, I admit that you are very strong, but you will have to pay a heavy price if you want to kill me. Divine General Black Drum raised his hand, and the 7-star heavenly drum floated in the air. The 7-star heavenly drum in exchange for my life and a favor from me. What do you think? Fang Chen shook his head. He had already made up his mind that Divine General Black Drum must die. Why bother? Divine General Black Drum said with a gloomy face. If you force me into a corner and detonate the 7-star heavenly drum, you will die too. It was better to each take a step back than suffer losses. That was what Divine General Black Drum thought. He believed that under the threat of Lord Mo Dao and the 7-star heavenly drum, Divine General Black Drum would give in. Fang Chen shrugged. You can try to detonate the 7-star heavenly drum and see if you die or I die. As he spoke, Fang Chen strolled over and arrived in front of the restriction. Swoosh! Without another word, he slashed out with his sword. The first move of the first level of the Chaos Origin sword technique was perfectly executed. The restrictions around the core of the mansion shattered with a loud boom. Fang Chen stepped into the core residence and came to Divine General Blackdrum's side. Divine General Blackdrum gritted his teeth and clenched his fist, wanting to detonate the 7-star heavenly drum. If you want to die, let's die together. Divine General Blackdrum fell into a frenzied state. Poochie. However, before he could detonate the 7-star heavenly drum, a sword light shot out of his body. His throat moved and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Fang Chen swung his sword and cut off Divine General Blackdrum's arms. With a suction force, he pulled the 7-star heavenly drum away. Divine General Blackdrum screamed miserably. His vitality quickly disappeared and he fell to the ground unwillingly. Lord Mo Dao won't let you off. Seeing Mo Dao die, Fang Chen pursed his lips. Chapter 34:18. Divine General Blackdrum was dead. At this moment, in the core mansion, many zombie cavalry troops under Old Corpse Head were holding white bone tridents and preparing to encircle Fang Chen. However, when they saw Divine General Blackdrum's body on the ground, their bodies froze and they did not move. Their hearts were surging with waves of shock. The feeling of death shrouded their hearts. They had never felt such a strong aura of death. Their bodies were trembling. Devil, it's a devil. Finally, some of the zombies could not help but attack. Whoosh! Dense white bone tridents floated in the air and released a terrifying power that quickly blasted towards Fang Chen. Dong! Even Divine General Blackdrum was no match for Fang Chen, let alone a few zombies. Whoosh! She waved the red glass sword, and one terrifying sword light after another burst out. Poochie! Any zombie that was pierced by the red glass sword died on the spot. Just one strike. The zombie cavalry troops in the core mansion were completely annihilated. Too strong, the butler trembled and hid in the dark, waiting for an opportunity to escape. A terrifying aura descended, and the butler's body knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Sir, spare me, spare me. Fang Chen put away the red glass sword, and a cold sword aura surrounded his body. Your Old Corpse Head's butler? Fang Chen asked. The butler hurriedly nodded. His life was in danger, and it was naturally more important to stay alive. The zombies were refined by the Corpse Head Ogre using a special method. They were extremely loyal to the Corpse Head Ogre. However, the butler in front of him was different. He was transformed from a yarrow, not a zombie. Therefore, Fang Chen did not kill him. After all, as Old Corpse Head's butler, he should know all of Old Corpse Head's secrets. How many zombies are there on this Corpse Head continent? Fang Chen asked. Most of them are in the core mansion. They have just died under Sir's sword. There are still a few zombies who are carrying out missions outside, the butler said. Fang Chen frowned. He did not want the news of Old Corpse Head's death to spread. Call them back immediately. Yes, sir. In the following period of time, Fang Chen repaired and strengthened the restrictions around the core mansion with his powerful array Dao techniques. Right now, Yin-Yang Origin Realm martial artists wouldn't be able to break through the array. After that, Fang Chen disposed of the corpses in the core mansion. A few days later, Fang Chen had completely eliminated the zombies that were carrying out missions outside. From this moment onwards, Fang Chen entered the core mansion and became the absolute overlord of the Corpse Head continent. My lord. The butler called out in a low voice. So, even you don't know where the termination soldier concoction is? Fang Chen frowned. The most important reason why he occupied the corpse continent was because of the termination spiritual liquid. However, even the housekeeper didn't know about it. That corpse head ghost really hid it well. Master, the corpse head ghost is very suspicious. Even to me, he won't be honest. The termination soldier spiritual liquid is his trump card, he won't tell anyone. Only with the termination soldier spiritual liquid would he have the qualifications to negotiate with Lord Mo Dao. But, suddenly, the butler recalled something. I remember that the corpse head ghost cultivated in seclusion for the longest time on the mountain behind the core mansion. I wonder, Fang Chen understood what the butler meant. He nodded slowly and said, during this period of time, you'll help me manage the corpse head continent. As for your subordinates, you can secretly recruit them from the other continents around. My only request is that you can't let others know that old corpse head is dead. Don't worry, my lord. I will complete the task, the butler said. He left the core mansion and went to the peak of the mountain behind. The reason why he trusted the butler was that the latter had made a martial oath. If he violated it, he would be punished by the heavens. Fang Chen's gaze swept across the peak of the mountain behind. There's nothing. Fang Chen raised his eyebrows and murmured. He walked slowly on the mountain peak, feeling the cool breeze blowing against his face. Buzz. At this moment, there was a sudden change in the baleful soldier's bloodline. As expected. Seeing this, Fang Chen was overjoyed. If the termination soldier bloodline moved, it meant that there must be termination soldier spiritual liquid here. Where is it? Fang Chen's eyes were like lightning as he searched quickly. Dong dong dong. The aura of the termination soldier bloodline in his body suddenly surged and condensed into a ray of light in front of him. Then, it flew toward a certain void. Guide. Fang Chen followed the ray of light and came to the west side of the peak. Crack. When his feet stepped on the ground, the soil suddenly loosened and he accidentally fell into the ground. Buzz. Soon, Fang Chen adjusted himself. In the mountain. There was a secret chamber in the mountain. When he came here, the termination soldier bloodline moved even more violently. Fang Chen placed his hands on the stone door of the secret chamber and pushed hard. Creak. The stone door opened and the termination soldier bloodline circled around Fang Chen's palms. After the stone door opened, the termination soldier spiritual liquid entered his sight. Termination soldier spiritual liquid. Fang Chen was extremely excited. Although there was only half a pool of termination soldier spiritual liquid in front of him, there were at least 1,000,000 drops. No wonder this guy gave Lord Mo Dao such a large amount of termination soldier spiritual liquid without any hesitation. Fang Chen was speechless. It turned out that the rumors outside were not correct. The corpse head ghost did give a large amount of termination soldier spiritual liquid to Lord Mo Dao in exchange for his protection. However, what the world did not know was that he still had 1,000,000 drops of termination soldier spiritual liquid in his hands. That's right. Fang Chen nodded. If not for my half-perfect bloodline and the termination soldier bloodline, it would be difficult for me to find the termination soldier spiritual liquid, let alone others. Without the termination soldier bloodline, even a 5-element sacred realm expert would not be able to find it. Ha ha ha. Fang Chen was overjoyed. With so much termination soldier spiritual liquid, it was a great deal for him. How do I keep it? Hiss hiss hiss. Just as he was thinking, the termination soldier bloodline in his body suddenly changed. It controlled his body and jumped into the pool. What's going on? Fang Chen was shocked. Just as he was about to resist, he saw a shocking scene. The termination soldier spiritual liquid in the pool entered his body drop by drop. He was completely stunned. I did not transform my body into a sword. Why would the termination soldier spiritual liquid enter my body? Fang Chen was stunned. Could it be the termination soldier bloodline? In just a few minutes, all the termination soldier spiritual liquid in the pool entered his body. No, to be exact, it entered the termination soldier bloodline. 1,000,000 drops. Fang Chen was speechless. If this spread out, even a 5-element sacred realm expert would go crazy. The termination soldier bloodline can store the termination soldier spiritual liquid? Fang Chen guessed. Other than that, there was no other reasonable explanation. Looking at the termination soldier spiritual liquid lying quietly in the termination soldier bloodline, Fang Chen shook his head. Forget it. At least this solves a big problem for me. With so much termination soldier spiritual liquid, it was indeed a very troublesome matter to store. But now, the termination soldier bloodline had solved the problem for him. I wonder if the Termination Soldier bloodline can evolve into the Termination Soldier bloodline under the nourishment of the Termination Soldier spiritual liquid? A bold idea appeared in Fang Chen's mind. However, this thought quickly dissipated. Now that the Termination Soldier spiritual liquid has been collected, I'll go into seclusion. Fang Chen had gained something from the battle with Divine General Blackdrum. He wanted to use this opportunity to increase his strength in seclusion. After all, once the surrounding continents and Lord Mo Dao knew about the death of the Corpse Head Ghost, they would definitely make a move on the Corpse Head continent. After handing over everything on the Corpse Head continent to the butler, Fang Chen went into seclusion in the secret chamber. There were a total of 3 broken continents around the Corpse Head continent. Among them, the most prosperous one was the ancient immortal continent. It was said that an ancient immortal had fallen on the ancient immortal continent. The one who occupied the ancient immortal continent was a peak Yang Yuan realm expert, only 1 step away from the perfected Yin Yang Yuan realm. At the border between the ancient immortal continent and the Corpse Head continent. Chase. That guy can't run away. 2 men were chasing after a demonic beast. One of the men stabbed the beast's abdomen with his sword. Roar. The beast roared at the sky and dragged its injured body to the Corpse Head continent. The sword-wielding man turned into a beam of light and chased after it. Big brother, come back. The black-armored man shouted. The sword-wielding man was confused and stopped. That beast has been severely injured by us and is about to die. Why did you stop me at this time? The black-armored man looked serious. Big brother, the Corpse Head continent is in front. Hearing the words Corpse Head continent, the sword-wielding man's body trembled involuntarily. But, however, after pondering for a moment, he said somewhat unwillingly, you also know what that demonic beast means to us. Although everyone says that the Corpse continent is extremely dangerous and that we'll definitely die if we encounter the Corpse cavalry regiment, but the Corpse Head continent is so big. We just need to be careful and leave after killing that beast. We should be fine. The black-armored man hesitated. Chase. It will be too late if we don't. As soon as he said that, the 2 brothers plunged into the Corpse Head continent. Whoosh. Whoosh. A few days later. The 2 brothers were traveling in a wasteland. Damn it, that demonic beast escaped. The black-armored man said with a gloomy face. The sword-wielding man frowned. Second brother, did you notice? What? We haven't encountered any Corpse cavalry army in the past few days. Even the smell of blood in the air is gradually fading. The sword-wielding man pondered. The Corpse Head Ghost has absolute control over the Corpse Head continent. The Corpse cavalry army is patrolling everywhere, but we haven't encountered any of them yet. Big brother, what do you mean? There's a situation on the Corpse Head continent. The sword-wielding man took out a communication jade pendant and sent the news back.